Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox has the story.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox writes at PJ Media.
Eat shit, Tucker.
And that was your last.
God damn it, Nick. I cried for 2 days.
Megan, thank you very much for that.
Oh, I can explain the bed thing. A nest in one of my penthouses, and I had to pry a steak.
It's like Jesus going to the temple. He's like, I got a whip. Get out! Get out!
I would have thrown them all off the balcony.
Megan Fox.
She's the devil. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
There's something about the way that you say my name. Make me forget everything when you call
Megan.
me
Megan.
Megan Fox.
Megan.
Megan.
Megan Fox.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You've never met a bitch like me. You want to tangle? You want to go? Holy shit. Holy shit.
Too much cussing on this. I guess we didn't bleep it, so we got to turn it off. But it's.
You pissed off the wrong woman.
Oh my God! I have been assaulted. What are you gonna do when Megan Fox runs wild on you, brother?
She's the devil.
Not for publication.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox has the story.
I'm Megan.
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 Megan Fox.
That's right.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, look, bitch, you're not serious either. You didn't even do the paperwork in time.
Hey.
Well, hello there.
Good morning. Or actually, it's
morning.
afternoon,
What's
I
up?
guess. It's afternoon. It's afternoon.
It's a little afternoon. It's a little afternoon. All right.
Well, that was
Hello.
Hi. I just realized that I had forgotten to share this out on Twitter. I've got 2 screens going at the same time. I'm so excited. I realized I was complaining the other day that I don't have a second monitor and I can't see all the chats at the same time. And then I realized I have my old Apple Mac sitting in a drawer. I have a MacBook Air that's just sitting in a drawer, and it's not good for much, but I can certainly monitor a chat over there. So now I've got a couple screens going.
You got a whole command center there now.
I know. I'm so excited about it. And also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the last couple of days, I have not been wearing glasses. And you know why that is?
You got contacts.
Actual
Awesome contacts, right?
that I can see in. Yeah. Contacts that I can actually see in. I used to not be able to see the screen without putting on a pair of readers, which, okay, if I'm admitting it, it looks better with the readers on. But yeah, the prescription was just too high, and I can still see far, and I can see the screens. It's kind of amazing. Yay! I feel
Nice. Congratulations.
this
I
is
like
life
it.
changing because I can actually go back to wearing contacts again. So
That's fantastic. So you're doing good?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing
know, it's
great, man.
The
You got to
blanket fort's
see.
falling apart.
I can't wait to show everybody what we've been working on.
Oh, I know it. I
Oh,
know it.
it's
But we
going
got to
to
get the
make-
numbers. We got to get the numbers in here up. Hit that plus button, you guys, over on Rumble, the best chat. Rumble chat is the best chat. We are going to stay on YouTube today if we can. I don't think we have anything too controversial coming up that we can't talk about. Why is the blanket fort falling apart? I do not like the blanket fort behind me. Stop falling apart. Stop it. All right. I need to get a real office. That's the next step, you guys. When my daughter goes to college, This room is mine.
Good. You get your office, get the sound panels and
Get it
everything.
back. I get my office back. I used to have my whole room used to be my office,
Oh,
but now I share it with a teenager.
ah.
So anyway, we are live with Alvin Lui from Courage is a Habit. You know that Alvin's organization is one of my favorites. He is at the forefront of parents fighting against the woke ideology that's infecting our schools, that's infecting everything. And you know what? Before we go any further, I want us to have a little sing along, Alvin. And I bet that you are going to be able to sing along with this without even having to see it one time. And all of you out there in the audience, if you're a certain age, you're going to be able to sing along with this as well. And I want to show how far we've come from just when Alvin and I were kids to now what the kids are being taught in school. Well, let's see if you remember the words to this song.
Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Only girls can be the mommies. Only boys can grow up and be the daddies. Yes, sir. Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. I think you're a special person. And I like your ins and outsides. Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine. Your body's fancy, and so is mine. Can you sing that with me?
Isn't it amazing, Alvin?
What a bigot that guy is. Kill him.
Can you imagine? He would be so
What a bigot.
canceled. He would be so canceled right now if he were alive. Like, they can't fuck with him now because, he's dead. So,
Well, they'll dig him up. They'll dig him up from the grave and
whip
say
him.
what a bigot he was. He wasn't a bigot 3 minutes ago. He only became a bigot like 3 minutes ago. So he wasn't even a bigot. Forget what he was doing the show, on TV.
I love
He
Mr.
wasn't a
Rogers.
bigot 3 minutes ago.
And by the way, I raised my own children on Mr. Rogers because Amazon has all the seasons, and I bet you they'll start pulling those seasons that have that music in it and erase them down the memory hole.
Sure.
And it's too bad because that's the kind of messaging that we need to give our children. You know what I love about that? I love that it was recognized that some children are uncomfortable with their bodies, right? It's a recognized thing.
Yeah.
And yet he knew how to put it into words to explain to children why it's okay to be who they are. You're fancy, I'm fancy. Everybody's fancy and everybody's fine.
Yeah.
Just the way you are.
What a great message. You know what? The original body positivity before they became fat and said, no, that's okay to be fat, right?
Exactly.
This is the original body positivity. No, it's not okay. This is the body positivity. This is the message you want to give children to say, you're born perfect the way you are.
Just the way you are.
Just
And
the way you
Mr. Rogers was so good at
What a sweet
doing
man he
that.
was. Yeah.
Such a sweet man. I miss him. And I hate to even think about it. I think, well, maybe they would have got to him, because he was such a compassionate person and they play
what? You're right.
They play on compassionate people.
He would have been the one that they would have gotten to where he started talking about transgender kids or kids.
Well, probably.
They would have because they used compassion. They weaponized, and he was one of the most compassionate people, so they would have weaponized.
Oh, for sure. And they weaponized that against you. They weaponized that need to help children feel comfortable and help them feel good. And man, it's just terrible. It's terrible what's being done. So Alvin, you've got a huge story. I played a preview of it yesterday for the audience. Where do you want me to start? Should we share? You want me to share something? You want to start with the video that you made maybe, or what do you want to talk about?
It's up to me. Oh my gosh.
It's up to you.
Well, I think we can probably start with talking about how the one question I discovered that child mutilation advocates fear. And it's the one question that got us locked out of Twitter. How about we start there?
Okay, that's right. We haven't even covered that yet on the show. How are you still locked out?
I'm still locked out
Oh,
off of the one question. So how about we do this? I emailed you.
you emailed me.
I did.
Okay, let me go to my email.
Yep.
Da-da-da-da.
And I sent you the tweet that got us locked, and I love it because I think for those that maybe have just discovered courage as a habit, we always have a saying that whenever you make these child mutilation advocates, these trans activists, extra mad, because they're always mad. They're mad every day. But if you make them extra mad, which is what they're going crazy over, you want to do more of it. Because it means that they're telling you, because in Courage is a Habit, inside, we always say this is a data point. We look at
All right,
hate
here
as
we
a data
go.
point, okay?
Let's see. Let me pull this up.
So here's the background on this, and before Megan pull it up. Okay, so back in September, we made a thread. It was a thread. It wasn't very long, and I made an observation. And the thread was, why does this transgender cult mainly affect white students? And we made an observation. This was made in September. This was the second tweet in that thread. This was the tweet that got us locked. And you can see here, this is a screenshot of the email. It says it's a harassment and abuse, but we didn't tag anybody. The thread didn't tag anybody. So go ahead and read the tweet, and you tell me if this is harassment or
yeah, who are
abuse.
you harassing? We know for a statistical fact that the children who are influenced by the transgender cult have autism, over 30%, or have some sort of underlying mental health issues. I mean, those are just facts, Alvin. But this doesn't explain why it impacts the white population so heavily, and here's our theory. So that's interesting.
So that's the second tweet. Okay, so you can go in the email. I actually linked you to thread. The thread's still up. This tweet is gone, but the thread is still up. Okay, so we can read the thread a little bit, but my point is that we found something that the transgender activists, or what we call the child mutilation advocates, are afraid of parents asking. So I have a new offensive comeback for parents when they get called transphobe and bigot. And
good.
So I want to share that with parents.
All right,
today.
let's pull that up. Here we go. Here's the thread.
Here's the thread. Okay.
Okay. It appears transgender cult have largely impacted white kids, a larger percentage being girls. The most raging advocates for children getting double mastectomies or castration are white parents, in particular white middle-class suburban mothers. Yeah, always the ones who have the insurance who will pay for this, by the way. It's not like people without insurance are paying for this. Why is this?
And then it goes into the second tweet that you just read, which got me locked.
That one's the one that's gone. Did they take it down?
That one's the one that's gone.
Okay, so here's your theory. Young white suburban moms, school counselors, teachers come from academia that have long been political indoctrination machines. They leverage women's natural high sense of empathy and that's what we were talking about just now with Mr. Rogers, and easily brainwash them into believing white privilege exists, thereby creating an endless well of white guilt. From this bottomless pit of self-flagellation, these young women will propagate any and all political agenda like missionaries deployed to third world countries. Even if that agenda mutilates their own children, they're all for it, they will say. White children grow up in a culture where every pillar of society tells them that they are evil. From school counselors to teachers to social media, their own parents pass on their own manufactured guilt. By the time they're in middle school, they will desperately look for any marginalized group to join. The more oppressed, the better, because finally they are now accepted, they belong, they're seen, they have achieved atonement, but it must be kept up. So every year they add to their identity for fear of being excised from the tribe and back out to the cold, dark, vast wasteland of being a white child. When you see the mostly young white group of transgender cultists screaming at guys like Billboard Chris, what you're seeing is fear. Fear of not being a strong enough ally. For the white parents, the best way to protect your children is to reject the notion that there is such a thing as white privilege. This was and has always been an effective tool to leverage your kindness so that you're too weak to stand up for your own children. I think this is spot on.
That's the threat, right?
Yeah.
And the second one, the one they got locked. So that was done in September 29th, I think, or something like that, 22nd at the end of September. Okay.
Yeah.
So then we get locked for that tweet, but here's the irony. And I love this, sometimes God just smiles on you. we get locked on Thursday or Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday. We get locked on Wednesday, and on Thursday, a study comes out, and I linked you to that
Yes.
study.
Oh
So
yeah, let's
remember,
go over to that.
so remember at the time, I knew the statistics. Okay, I knew the statistics with autism. I knew that most kids have some kind of mental issues, but I didn't have a statistic as to the percentage of white kids. I just know the large majority, almost all of them are white moms that pushes this, and it's almost all white kids, right? So then we get locked for something we said on in September, and I'll tell you why. By the way, what was why we got locked, or who's pushing it. But then the study comes out on Thursday, the very next day, and here's the study.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Hold on, why can't I just opened it?
It's
I know I just opened it, but for some reason it didn't pop up. Hold on, let me try again. What did I do?
You know what? I can put it right in the chat. How's that?
It's the Daily Wire, right? Okay,
they reported
hold
on the study. So they reported on the study.
Chrome tab. Yeah, there it is. Okay, here we go. Let's get over to there. And here it comes. Okay. New data emerges of 1,100 plus adolescent gender-affirming mastectomies.
So go ahead and scroll down a little bit. And basically, there was a 389% increase between 2016 2017.
God, that's huge.
That's huge, right? It's disgusting, right? 12 to 17 getting double mastectomies
in 3 years.
Castration.
It's insane.
And that's just to 2019 now. The 2020-21 numbers are going to be horrific, more horrific. So if you scroll down just a little bit, though, right? Keep going.
Oh God, look at this chart.
I
my
think
Lord.
maybe,
did I miss it?
Maybe.
What are we looking for keywords? I'll just type in a keyword.
White.
There we go. The vast majority of patients were white, 77.9%.
Almost 78%.
Holy
of kids who got
crap.
the double mastectomy and castration, mostly double mastectomies, were white kids.
Wow.
So there's the study. And that was something that I had, we had pointed out in September. And this is not, again, I'm not saying that I'm the only one that pointed out. I'm just saying that in that thread, that was the observation that we made. And my observation was that is largely due to the critical race theory ideology that's made white kids feel like they're second class, third class citizens. So when there's an opportunity for them to move into a protected class, they jump at the chance. But the problem is, once you jump into that protected class, you get that dopamine because you get that love bombing. So you get that dopamine social value. And now you're a victim, but it has to be kept up. So like a drug addict, you have to now move to the stronger hit. So it becomes pronouns, and then the chest binding, tucking, then the puberty blockers, then the surgeries. You have to keep going to get that dopamine hit.
SJF says, Alvin, you're so amazing with all you do in your efforts to protect children. Please know you're supported and appreciated. BLT says, stop making observations, bigot.
Stop making observations. Thank you both. I appreciate
Stephanie, my sister's in the chat. Hey, Steph. She says, are they trying to reduce the population of white people? It's very possible. I have thought that myself. But, that gets into conspiracy tinfoil hat theory.
Genocide. And the thing is, it's just separating kids, right? They're going to separate blacks and Asians and whites. It's just started with white because there's an easy target. And
do you remember Helena? She's a detransitioner. She wrote an incredible article about her coming to the trans ideology, and it's exactly what you said.
Yes,
it's exactly. It started for her on Tumblr, and she was, inundated with this white guilt, all this baloney, and she wanted to be part of a hierarchy, right? She didn't feel like she could ever have an opinion as a white straight girl. Her opinion was completely taken not seriously by anyone.
Right.
And as soon as she became trans, suddenly her voice was useful.
Heard, seen.
Heard and seen, validated. That's right.
So this is why it affects largely the white majority. And then so what I didn't say in that thread that I've said many times afterwards is the challenge I have for any child mutilation advocate. Here's it. Find me a photo of a Chinese, Filipino, Indian, Black, Muslim mother smiling ear to ear next to their daughter having the double mastectomy.
Yeah, you won't find it, but you find all these white women.
You won't find it. Why?
It's so gross.
Why? It won't find it. So so anyway, so what I wanted to give parents right off the bat, for those listening right off the bat, is the next time someone calls you a transphobe bigot, you want to kill kids, and this is just natural, and this is all that, you just try to support kids, ignore it, pretend you didn't hear that, and say, hey, I have a question for you. Why does the transgender cult largely affect white students? Between 2016 2019, all the children who got double mastectomies and castration between 12 and 17 were 70% white. Why is that? They will not be able to answer it. And don't let them get off the hook. Pin them to it. Keep asking that question. Watch them twist in the wind. The only thing they could say, and one of the child mutilation advocates tried this on me. She said, it's because of socioeconomic level. White people have more money. And I said, well, that doesn't work because Asians and Indians make more money as a household income, as a median household income than whites. So it's not that. Asians and Indians make more money. So it's not socioeconomic. So back to the question. Why is 78% of children who get the transgender mutilation surgery, why are they white? Why is it 78%? Ask them that, watch them twist in the wind.
This is that thing so, okay, the reporter that we talked about a couple weeks ago, or a week or so ago, what was his name? Mike something.
Right, Mike something, yeah.
Who wanted to go at us on Twitter about how critical race theory is good. It's good for society, and it's not Marxist at all.
Yeah, it's not good.
One of the things he talked to me privately in DMs, and he was trying to argue with me about trying to pin me down on what harm has been done to white kids and white people with critical race. And I actually pointed him to Helena's story. And I know he didn't read it because it's like 6,000 words. So it takes a long time to read. And he responded almost immediately by saying, this has nothing to do with anything. She doesn't say anything in here about learning this in school. It's like, does it matter if it's learned in school or on Tumblr? Like, it doesn't matter where you're teaching it. The ideology is the
White
same.
privilege.
And I guarantee you that Helena did get it reinforced at school. It was it was introduced to her on Tumblr. It was reinforced at school. There's no way. And I mean, I'm sure we could ask her about it.
Of course.
I think it's amazing that this is how they get away with it, though. They say, show me the damage. Show me where you can prove that this was done by CRT. It's like, well, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to prove this thing that they keep insisting isn't happening because they're hiding it on purpose. It's tough to prove that, except for hearing people's personal testimonies that it destroyed their self-image, that it destroyed the way they thought of themselves.
I have a new analogy that I was talking to somebody on my team about, and I wanted to share with you and your listeners. So this is largely comes from a conversation where teachers go, I teach SEL, and I don't teach it that way. We hear that literally dozens of times a week. And or people go, oh, my wife's a teacher, or someone said, she doesn't do it that way. We just do this lesson. So here's my analogy. Okay. So take yourself out of schools. Let's say you're trying to get in shape. And now get in shape is kind of general. Maybe you're trying to, look good in a swimsuit. Maybe you're trying to look, fit your clothes better. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. Maybe you're trying to gain muscle. Who knows? But whatever your goals are, let's just say get in shape, whatever that is to you. Okay. So now you decide you want to get in shape on Sunday. So Monday, now you go to the gym. If you went to the gym every day for 8 hours for 5 days, when you look in the mirror the next Sunday or Saturday, you literally will see no difference. Right? If you work out 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, and then you stop and you look in the mirror, you'll be like, I look literally no different than 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? That's not how you get in shape. But
right.
If you commit to say, I'm going to work out 30 minutes, 3-4 times a week, I'm going to, change my diet or try to modify this, try to modify that. When do you get in shape? You can't answer that. Nobody can answer that. When? 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, 9 months? When? I don't know. It depends on your goals, depends on your body type. It depends on a lot of things, right?
Right.
But we do know that if you consistently change your lifestyle and you stick with your workout 30 minutes a day, 4 or 5 days a week, you change your diet, we all know that at some point you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to go, hey, I look different. My clothes fit better.
Right.
Right. But when? But if you say, hey,
when does it happen? That's a really good question because I've had literal experience with this myself. Where
you said you've
I lost 25 pounds and I didn't even notice it until like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, literally, like, and it's been months, months
Yeah.
and months and months, and I
So
didn't even notice it
so
happening.
Megan, when did you get in shape?
Yeah,
Show me the day and the time and the
can't
hour
say,
when you can't say why.
can't say. Because
Why?
you just don't notice it. I don't know, it happens so slowly over time
Over
that you
time.
just don't notice. It's not
So
an overnight change, and,
that's right.
that's exactly the right analogy for this. Look, I wanna show you something. So you brought up the SEL and the teacher saying that they don't teach it like that. That is a conversation that I just had with my daughter's teacher. Because
Mhm.
now, I
Yeah, I
told
saw
you
that. Yeah.
I talked to her about these lessons, and I said I didn't want my
Lessons.
daughter taking part in it, and she
Yeah.
said, "No problem.
Yeah.
We'll definitely not do anything, I'll make sure she doesn't do anything with the gender identity and whatever."
Yeah.
Here's what my daughter sends me from school the other day. I want you to see this.
I saw this. It's just
It says, "The definition of belonging to social groups can vary greatly. Explore these examples. Think about how they are similar or different from your sense of belonging to various social groups." Breyer says, "I don't like to be labeled in any way. Society may place me into certain social identity groups, but I haven't chosen any of them myself. I'm still figuring out who I am, and I have plenty of time to do that." Now, when I shared this on Twitter and I said, this is totally inappropriate for my student, these are parent responsibilities to teach their child what their identity is. And I told my child, because she sent me this in a picture and she said on the text, "What is this crap?" And I said,
good
I
for
said,
her.
I said, "You know who you are. You know exactly who you are. You're a daughter and a 13-year-old girl. You're a Catholic. You're a granddaughter. You're a cousin, and that's who you are. And you don't need anybody to tell you or to make you choose who you are. You can't choose who you are. You are who you are." And she knows that, but she's like, "Why are they doing this to us? Why are they put?" And so she sees it.
That's
But
great.
when I put this up, people were like, "Oh, you're reaching. This is no big deal." And really, that's how people see it. They see it as no big deal. Now look at this. Who are you in the world? Are
Mhm.
these questions, by the way, that the school should be trying to teach your
Mm.
child? I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think this is a parent issue. This is what I take my child to church for. And if you're not a person who goes to church, well, maybe that's what you take them to Kiwanis Club for, or maybe that's what they go to 4-H for, right? Or whatever, or Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or whatever. But you don't send them to school so that they can learn about their race and ethnicity, gender, social class, socioeconomic status, disabilities, interests, religion, and beliefs. Look at
Yeah.
what this says.
Yeah.
In addition to your internal motivations, how you choose to identify yourself, how you choose, Alvin, you choose, is another self awareness factor to consider. You may belong to a certain social group that relates to your identity. Some are obvious and some aren't. The social identity groups that you identify with can also help shape your values or what's important to you. And look how they include gender here.
Mhm.
I mean, and race and ethnic, like making it a big deal. I have never, and I am totally opposed, Alvin, to teaching my children that race matters at all. I am opposed to that kind of programming. I am 100% opposed to even putting any emphasis at all on the color of my children's skin. And it
Mhm.
offends me greatly to see this and see that they are actually classifying my kid based on her race and ethnicity. What is
Yeah.
this?
Well, actually, it's funny that you brought this up, and the timing couldn't be better. So I wanted to share with you a great conversation I had just last night with Stephanie Wynn. I was on her podcast. She's wonderful. And we talked a lot about identity. And so I'll kind of summarize it for everybody here. When we grow up to be a certain age, preteen, teenager, into our 20s, into our 30s, well into it, finding our identity is something that we spend a lifetime doing. And she had a wonderful word for it. She goes, if you foreclose on your identity too early, you're trapped into it. So, what we've always done is let a child try on different identities as they age and as they find different interests. This is why there's no such thing as a 40-year-old goth person because they've grown out of the thing, right?
I almost spit
Okay.
my Coke out. No such thing, Alvin. There are
But
still, I
very
mean, what
difficult
do
to
you
find.
how do you explain furries? Okay.
That's
I mean,
Finding a 40-year-old goth person is like finding a Muslim mother that took their daughter to go get double mastectomy. You're never gonna find it, right? So we have this wonderful
You know, the
conversation.
chat is going to prove you wrong in a second.
Yeah.
They're going to
I know,
find
someone's
a
gonna
40-year-old
find the 40-year-old
goth.
golf guy that's a neighbor. I'm like, there he is. There's the only golf guy in America. But what we said was this, right? The schools, the school counselors, and this right here, what they try to put on your daughter, they are not allowing the child to find their own identity. They're putting the identity on the child.
Yep.
That's the difference. You are not, the identity is something that a person finds naturally. But what they're doing here is they're making the identity, they're putting the identity on that child and moving them into a group. But here's the danger of that. And what Stephanie and I talked about last night. If you're a child, you are not a tennis player. You play tennis because you are not anything. You are a daughter. You are someone's daughter. That's your identity. That's it. You're with your mom and dad. That's it. If you're not a musician, you play the violin.
Right.
Which is fine because maybe next year you don't want to play the violin anymore. Maybe in 5 years you're tired of it. You go do something else.
Right.
And that's great. That's fine.
Trying things. Yeah.
You're trying things. But here's what the child mutilation advocates, the diversity, inclusion, equity people, the SEL pushers, the school counselors, all these people, the people that made this, what they're doing is they're saying you are this. Look at the way they wrote this.
I know.
This
is
so
so
here's the thing.
disturbing
Let's say Megan, let's say you identify as the tennis is your everything. That's your whole identity. You spent your whole life. You're a tennis player. If I walked up to you and I said, I know, like, let's say I didn't know you're a tennis player. And I go, you know what? Tennis is not a real sport. People that play tennis, they're fucking stupid. You would I would destroy your soul because you identify as a tennis player. And I just said something flippant and awful about tennis players.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just play tennis, but that's not how you identify. And I say that, you'll be like, yeah, okay. I disagree with you, but it won't. This is why when you say anything about trans kids, gay kids, anything like that, black kids, if you try to say anything that's based on logic and common sense, what do they say? You're erasing them. You're killing them.
Right. Words are violence.
Words are violence.
Yeah, you're right. And my main criticism the very first criticism I ever had with the LGBT movement in general was that it made people identify with a sexuality as the whole of their being instead of you identify as, I don't know, an accountant, a musician, someone with talent, someone who,
something that's earned.
Your sexuality is not special.
No, not. But they try to make these kids, again, going back to the white privilege thing, this is why they rope a lot of white kids in. They want to be able to say if you're disabled and you're trans and you're this, you just move up into the hierarchy. And the moment someone says something, it's a condemnation on your soul.
Right. Right. Well, and look at this.
This is why they're doing it. So I disagree. So obviously when people say it's not a big deal, let's go back to that example I gave about working out. This is I just worked out for 30 minutes. What's the big deal? But that's not it. It is that. It is 5 other things every day in front of girls like your daughter. Okay. And they don't know when they're going to turn your daughter. They're going to brainwash your daughter. Maybe not your specific daughter because you know how to protect her.
They better not try and brainwash my kid. They're being serious trouble. I know they're trying.
Not successful, right?
They're not successful because she literally texted me. She's like, I hate this so much.
Good. And then
I told her, I said, quit doing it right now. And I sent the principal down there and I said, get that off her computer screen.
Right.
And she did.
You're like, come on, Megan. You're like 1%, 0.5%. Right? Nobody does that.
But you can all be like me.
But you can all be like you.
You can all be like me. Look, if you show your kids this stuff, you can't hide it from them. You have to tell them what these people are trying to do to them.
Yes.
You have to tell them. They're going to try and brainwash you into believing that your race means something and that your ethnicity means something and that you have to be part of an identity group. But you've got to fight against it and you have to tell them. You tell me when they're doing this to you. You tell mom and I will take care of it. I will get you out of all this crap. Believe me, the kids don't want to do this anyway. Alvin. They do not want to do these lessons. They all hate it. Be a bitch like me. That's right, Tina. Be a bitch like me.
Be a bitch like Megan. That's
I'm telling you what. Like I said in my intro, you've never met a bitch like me. Don't
Right.
tangle with me. You won't
Right.
like it. And look, the kids hate this stuff.
They do.
It's so boring to them. You should have seen the pictures. Oh, and by the way, they stuck the data collection stuff in this. They stuck the data. She goes, Mom, I don't think, because she knows she's not supposed to answer data collection questions
Good.
now.
Yeah. All the
So now
SMS numbers,
she lets me know. She texts me when there's any kind of data collection. And this one had like personal questions about her parents in it. And I was like, oh, hell no, you will not answer those. Oh, no, no, no. The state does not get any information about this family without a warrant. Do you understand? A warrant. You
Yeah.
want to know what kind of internet I have?
Yeah.
You want to know how many guns I have?
Yeah.
Get a warrant.
Get a
Okay.
warrant, yeah.
But this is how they do it. Your kids don't have to do this. What does this have to do with education? Look at what this says, Alvin. Self-awareness. Students learn how to recognize and analyze their internal motivations. The hell is this?
That's
lunchtime with Freud?
It's social emotional learning. This is one of the pillars of social emotional learning from Castle. Self-awareness.
I want to know something. Can they do calculus? Because if they can't do fucking calculus, then they should stop it with their internal motivations. You know, as a child, and I've had to have this difficult conversation with my children, when they say school is stupid and I hate school, I don't want to do this anymore. I have to say, well, right now you're a child and your job is school. That is your job. And I know you might not like it. And I know it might be stupid. A lot of it is stupid. I will agree with you that it's stupid. This is the society we live in. This is your job right now, and you have to get through it. But for sure, you don't have to do this stupid stuff. I will make
you don't have to do that stupid stuff. Yeah,
but you do have to do. You need to learn how to read. You need to write a paragraph. You need to be able to write an essay. You need to be able to do your math, and that's just your job right now. You know, because you're a kid. Period.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Hey, when do they start saying, Alvin, that the kids don't have to do school because they hate it? When do they start saying, you know what, the kids don't really like this, so we're child driven here, so we're not going to make them do school at all? When do they do that? Oh, Vince, thanks for the super chat. Hey, this is a good time to remind you guys, I am very bad at grifting for myself, Alvin, and I just got to point out,
you got to do what I do. You got to get the dark money.
The dark money.
When you're in the dark money, you can't.
They keep accusing me of dark money, getting dark money from Soros. I wish.
Soros. Yeah, no,
look,
if you get dark money, you can't be canceled. They can't hurt you. You're just rolling in it.
I know.
That's why I can say whatever I want. They can't hurt me. I got dark money. It's endless.
But I want to take this minute to say, if you like this content, if you want it to continue, if you want me to keep bringing you the information that is helpful to you and help you fight for your kids, you got to support the show. And it's either you can buy my books on Amazon. I've got a couple of them. If you like to read, I highly recommend this one for winter reading by the fire. It's called Shut Up, the Bizarre War That One Public Library Waged Against the First Amendment. You can pick that up on Amazon. It's about how to fight these boards that are doing these terrible things to you, whether it's at the library with the porn in the books. That's what this is all about. The disgusting American Library Association and how they put this stuff into libraries. This has been going on a lot longer than you think it has. Yeah. And I've been on the forefront of it for a very long time. My friend Kevin Dujan and I wrote this book. It's a great guide to how to fight these people with Freedom of Information Act. And then if you hate the Me Too movement, like I do, you might want to go pick up Believe Evidence, not women, because women are sometimes, liars. So you can go and pick this up on Amazon. This one's a very quick read. It makes a great Christmas present, by the way, if you're out there looking for Christmas presents, especially for college-age kids. You want to keep your son away from women who lie? There's a whole bunch of tips in here for a kid like that. So Believe
You know what?
Evidence,
I just had an idea.
Amazon.
You know what I want to do? I'll do it, right? I just had an idea. Here's what I want to do. And I don't know how, I don't think I thought this through, but anybody who, let's just do this. Anybody that comments that you think has the funniest comment, I will gift them that book, the first one.
Oh, the Shut Up one?
The Shut Up one.
That's the expensive one.
That's okay. So anybody, so maybe comment, whatever, say
makes
whatever
me
you want to say.
Makes me laugh the most.
Yep. And if whatever
comment it's got to be a super chat or a rumble
super
rant. It's got to be a super chat or a rumble rant.
Super chat or rumble rant. The one that Megan's laugh the most by the time we're done in the next hour.
Yeah,
we're going to be here for another hour.
Alvin's going to give my book away.
Then you here's the thing. I'll tell you, whoever wins, they will drop my teammate email, and we will get that address, and we'll have that shipped out to you. How's that?
Excellent. I love it. This is the kind of thing I need to figure out how to do. We got to play games to get these rants and super chats going because I got to I got to get paid to sit here for hours on end to do this.
All right. So put your comments in. Be creative. Whichever one makes Megan laugh the most by the time we're done, I will send you that book. Shut up. Okay. We'll get it
Excellent.
right out to you. We'll
And I'm
Amazon-
gonna have to.
deliver-
I have to make sure I've got my notebook on hand because they disappear quick. So I'll have to
Okay.
write them down. I'll have to
Write
write
'em down.
names down. I'll have to
Yep.
write names down. Okay, hold on. Let me get a.
Yep.
Let me get my notebook. All right, I'm all set. All right,
There you go.
guys. Yes, the grifting. Let the grifting begin. All
There
right.
you
So I'm telling you what, you guys. This kind of crap. Okay, now you think that this is like, it's harmless.
Self-awareness. No, hey, go back to, I just sent you a link on the private chat. Leave that up. Just go to the private chat. I want you to click on that. And remember self-awareness.
Okay.
And this is the language contamination that gets parents. Look at this. Recognize, analyze, internal motivation, social identities. It's all about the LGBT stuff. But that's not what they presented at. This is the practice in the classroom.
Wait,
We
is
only
this the
see
decoding? Is this
Yeah.
the decoding thing?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
See,
get that up
you-
on the screen. Ellie
we only
Fant, she's
see
in on
this-
the game already. She's got the
Okay.
Rumble rant came in. She says, "Women lie." OMG.
Okay.
I know
That's
it's a tough pill to
Shocker.
swallow. It's a
It's a shocker.
shocker, but
Women
sometimes
lie?
they
Oh my
do.
God.
Sometimes they do. All right, let's see. Casel wheel. Here we go. Decoding social emotional learning, indoctrination
Self-awareness.
in plain sight. Wait, is that up on the screen yet? Did I get
Not
it up?
yet. Not
No.
yet.
All right, I set my settings so that it doesn't pop up automatically because sometimes that gets in the way. All right, there we go.
The one on the upper left is the social self-awareness. So when they
Oh
say,
yeah. Oh, look at this.
right? So they say, what's wrong with self-awareness? What's wrong with that? This is SEL. This is good for managing emotions. And that's what they sell you in
Oh,
the
look
front.
it.
So,
Oh my God. Look what the next screen is, Alvin.
oh, it went off.
I know, but look, I
Oh.
got to share this with you because look at the
Okay.
next tweet that I shared that my daughter took pictures of. So I went to the website to
Okay.
see what are the lessons that
Okay.
this particular, thing
Yeah.
is teaching. Look at what the
Yeah.
next one was. So the first one was self-awareness.
Awareness, uh-huh.
The second one is self-management. Isn't that what we just saw?
Yeah. Self-management.
So all of these, and look at this, how to recognize complex emotions, how to regulate and manage their emotions. What is this?
So go to the castle wheel and I'll explain real
All right,
quick.
I'm
and
going
we break it
back. I'm
down.
going
Yeah,
back, but I just want to say, like, this is, I don't
exactly.
understand how school has turned into psychology. Like, it's a psych session. Like, why?
SEL is a thought reform program. So when parents push back against SEL, they're like, what? Don't you want self-awareness? Don't you want self-management? So parents go, well, those words I teach my kids, but that's not what they mean, right? And so if you don't have someone like Megan that shows you what is actually in the classroom, you won't know. You think they're just teaching your children what you teach your children. So in this decoding guide, and you can download this at courageasahabit.org, we break down what each of these actually mean.
Yep. Hold on. Do we have to go down?
Yeah, gears go down.
All right, hold on. Let's see.
Just go ahead and zoom out a little bit.
Zoom out.
Zoom out just a
Okay.
hair bit, and then go down a little bit.
Okay.
And so this is what they mean. This is what they say what self-awareness is. This is the marketing.
Would it make it easier for you guys if I take us out of the screen here? Let's make it
There you go.
bigger. All right, here we go.
So this is what they tell you it means. Oh, it's just about managing emotions and things of that nature. They don't talk about identity. They don't talk about any of those things, which is what your daughter is being exposed to. This is what they say. But if you scroll down, we tell you what they actually mean on self-awareness and everything else.
Okay, so let's see.
Keep going down the next page.
So, God, you've done so much work on this, Alvin. I just cannot even believe.
There you go. Forces children to assume a personal and social identity through the equity lens. They are exposed to a narrative that labeled their identity as privileged or oppressed. These competencies exploit a child's natural empathy to regulate their emotions through the thought reform process. Is that not exactly what you just showed?
That's exactly. Ellie Fant. She just sent another rant. This one's in the running, Ellie. It says,
Okay.
Is SEL furry training? Asking for a
Yes,
friend.
that's exactly what it is. One of many things, but yes, it's furry training. So you see, this is what they don't tell you. And if you don't have someone like a mom like Megan exposing it, or a mom like Megan is paying attention, they don't see this part right here. What they sell you is the part up there. This is why parents get so confused. They don't tell you
because
this
they're
part.
selling you this, right?
This,
They're
there you
teaching the
go.
children how to understand their emotions, how to manage their emotions, and how they're selling it to me as a behavioral thing. Like, and I get like upset about that anyway. And I don't want to say to them, look, your job is not to discipline my kid. It's really my job. You know, if you have a
Right.
problem with my kid in class, I
Right.
expect you to come to me, and
Right.
then I will handle it at home. Now, I
Yes.
realize that you have the authority to discipline or whatever and give a, detention, and that's fine.
Right.
But that's as far as I think they
That's the
should
force.
go.
Yeah.
As far as managing the way they feel about themselves and feeling compassion for
Yeah.
others and
All that. It's
empathizing and
out of their lane.
all that
Way
shit,
out of
they're
their lane.
so way out of their lane.
So
Stay in
fucking
your
out of their lane.
lane.
Yeah.
Like, stay in your freaking lane.
Yeah.
This is what I was trying to say on Twitter, Alvin. I'm saying to these people who are saying, you're making too big of a deal out of this. I'm saying, wait a minute. These are all parental responsibilities
Yeah.
that they are taking over. And if you think that that's not a problem,
Yeah.
that the school is becoming the parent, what do they call it? The in loco parentis? They're
Yeah.
becoming the parent, and they're usurping my responsibility. And they're actually making it worse for
Mhm.
kids who have parents who are checked out, because they're giving
Yes.
the parents even more of an excuse to
Yes.
stay checked out,
And they want to.
instead of to get involved in their kids' lives. I mean, I'm so involved in my kids' lives that they're like, "Mom, could you back off just a little?" But that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm the parent. I'm responsible financially, legally, emotionally.
You don't agree
It's
with that?
my responsibility, and these people are trying to take it.
Absolutely, they are. They're trying to separate, which is what my main 117, my video about separating children and families. I've been on that. That's what they're doing. But here's the thing to argument for people to go, what's the big deal? Well, if that's all they showed your child, if you only work out 1 hour a day for 5 days a week, then yeah, no big deal. If that's all they showed your child, I agree. What's the big deal? But that's not it. That's
not
one
it.
of 5 things every day they show your child for 12 years. So back to my example about the working out, you don't know when you're going to get in shape. They don't know when they're going to brainwash your child, but they know
Yeah.
they will be.
They're gonna on one of these. So first it starts with the self-awareness, then the self-management,
Yeah.
then the responsible decision making, then
And they keep
relationship skills. And believe me, people, I
It
have
goes-
to say that everyone warned me, and as my own experience of being a teenager, I dreaded the teen years with my children. I really
Sure.
did. And now that we're here, I'm having so much fun with them. They're so great. So don't let anybody scare you that teenagers are some kind of, scary
Oh.
monsters but at some point teenagers are going to have a relationship issue with a parent, right? That
Sure.
they're going to naturally push back. They're going to naturally
That's
want
okay.
their freedom, and they're going to
Sure.
naturally, and so there's going to be that thing. And the relationship skills part of this is the one that scares me the most, because that's the part where one day your teenager is upset with you because, you wanted her to clean her room. And so you told her she couldn't go to the mall with her friends. And the next thing you know, she's pouting at school, and the school counselor wants to know what happened.
Yeah.
And that's when they start to drive the wedge
The
between you
wedge.
and your kid.
That's right.
I told you about that school counselor who tried it with me, and maybe some of you who are here didn't hear that story, but a school counselor tried this with my oldest daughter, and she regrets it to this day. But
Right.
she told my daughter, with no context whatsoever, well, when she got her alone, well, your mother really, really doesn't want people to love who they love.
Wow.
She got this from one statement I made during when I was with them walking through the school to see the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
When we were in the locker room, I said, "Are boys allowed to change in
Yeah.
this locker room with girls?"
See, that's the thing that parents don't ever see. That
And
right
that's
there.
what she turned it into.
Me too.
Me saying I
Yes.
don't want a biological boy in a locker room watching my biological girl get undressed. She turned that into, I hate gay people. I don't want them to love who they love. Now my daughter, she's so, she knows me. She knows that my best friend, the guy who wrote Shut Up, if you win the super chat contest today, Kevin Dujan is my co-author on this. He's one of my best friends and also happens to be a gay American. And helped, was with them growing up all when we lived in Chicago their whole lives, went on vacation with us. She's not stupid. She knows. And it's like, it's amazing the kind of thing. Now, if she had not known, would that have done it? Would that have started to
Stood
build
the
a wedge?
wedge.
And
Yeah.
would that have been the moment?
That's it, maybe. When do you get brainwashed? This is why when people that your opponents or people that are disagreeing with you, when you post this, they're 100% wrong, because it's like saying, what's the big deal? They just worked out one day. You're right. What's the big deal? It's not. But this is a 12-year brainwashing program. So the mistake,
Yep.
that's right. They want
It
children to
is.
be property of the state, not
It's
the
a
parents.
12-year
100%.
brainwashing program.
And so what
So
happens?
true.
So you're so right, KL. You're absolutely right. And so what happens is every single time,
Tina,
100.
we don't take pledges.
I'll pledge a Rumble Rant to get the book.
We don't take pledges. This is not, listen, Amber Heards are not welcome here in this. We do not take pledges.
I'll
Only
pledge
rant.
a Rumble. Okay, that's funny. I
It
didn't
is
follow
really
it, but
funny.
I even get that reference. That's
It
funny.
is
I'll
really
pledge.
funny. I will give you this, Tina. It's
Okay,
really funny.
you know what? That might move up to the fight. That's funny.
No, it can't. It's
It
not
can't,
a
'cause it
rant.
has to be
And
the
it's
Rumble
not
Rant.
a chat.
It's not
It's
chat,
not a
Rumble
super
Rant.
chat.
Yeah, that's funny. So every time a parent, when their child gets wrapped up in the transgender cult, let's say they were 13 or 14 or 12 or whatever, the parents always try to look at what happened to them within the last 90 days. That's a mistake. They didn't get brainwashed or radicalized in the last 90 days. They got brainwashed in the last X amount of years. Just like working out. Megan, when did you lose that 25 pounds?
Yeah, I don't
Yesterday?
know. I couldn't
No,
tell
you just,
you.
it was
I
just a
couldn't tell
change
you.
in lifestyle.
Yep.
It was just a change in lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's, that is such a
Right?
great analogy, Alvin. You have such a brain. I love your brain. I really do. The way it works is just terrific. I feel like you're just doing God's work because you are able to explain this to people in a way that they understand. I'm embarrassed to say that even as aware as I am, when this SEL stuff came out, I did not see it, Alvin. And in fact, I think I argued with you on Twitter way back when we first met. I was like, I haven't seen any of this in our SEL programming, right?
Right.
I think it was when we first met, I was like,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I can convince you. I'm like, okay.
Come on out. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Convince me. And sure enough, it is the Trojan horse.
This is it, right? And you're seeing it with your daughter. And I think I love, the fact is that you're a mother who's taught their daughter to have that armor. Okay. And then you're exposing it to the public. So you're really like a 0.5%. Most parents don't see this part right here. So social awareness and relationship skills activates children to identify privileged group versus oppressed groups. Children are trained to build relationships.
Is that CRT right here.
Right, exactly. And form an army of social change agents who will divide and dismantle inequitable systems. That's why when she tells you, your mother don't let people love the way they love, this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing. She's building social awareness in your daughter.
Yeah.
But they don't sell me that.
And by the way, just for the record, love whoever you want to love. Okay. It has no bearing on me whatsoever.
Nothing. Just
None.
leave the kids.
Leave the kids alone. Like leave
So anyway,
the kids alone.
this is the castle wheel.
I love this right here. I love the way you've written this. Children are trained to build relationships for collectivism. I love that you use that word. This word is not used enough, Alvin.
No.
And form an army of social change agents. That right there is Marxism right there.
Right there. It's
And
Marxism.
this agents of social change. If anybody has read Rules for Radicals, which by the way is on the cover of this book. It's right. My mother is holding it
the
there.
cover. Yeah.
That's the cover of Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky.
Yes.
If you have ever, I've read that book. It's actually it's a pretty good book. I mean, it's if you want to know how the left thinks, you read that book. And also, if you want to learn how to win political fights, you read that book.
Yeah.
Because you can use their rules against them.
And that's exactly what
And that's what we did in this book. We
perfect.
literally used Rules for Radicals against this library. We used it. Rule number 1, ridicule is your most powerful weapon. Did you know that? That's his rule number 1? Ridicule is your most powerful weapon. And
which is why our door looks the way it does on behind closed doors.
Well, look, Rules for Radicals is a wonderful book if you want to know how to fight battles. One of the best rules in there is make them live up to their own rules. So if the rule is that they answer every letter, you overwhelm the system with so many letters that they break their own rule. Right? That's how you do these campaigns to force these institutions to make changes, right? And when you get them to break their own rules, well, then you get to ridicule them for it.
That's right.
It's say, well, you said you were going to do this, but you didn't, and you failed, you miserable loser. And and I'm telling you, this stuff works. Personalize it. That's the other thing. You have to personalize it. You can't go over
Oh.
institutions. Institutions don't hurt, but people do. People do, which is why you go after the what's her name? Dr. Stone. That's why you go after Dr. Stone.
Or
because
Tara, or you know.
you have to personalize. And look, that book, you can say it's evil and bad or whatever. It's a
works.
great reference. It works. And you just have to use it for good instead of for evil.
Speaking of going after somebody, you know, that's a good point, because when you say a school is doing this, or so-and-so's doing, or school counselors are doing this, ASCA, that's a very general thing, right? But let's do something that's a little more specific. What does a social worker, school board member who wants to indoctrinate a child mutilation advocate, what does that look like? Okay. So as a person, right? So I just sent you a link, and we can now watch a video. So we can take a break and watch a video. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to download that, what Megan just showed, it's called Castle Wheel. You can get it on courageishabit.org. It's under the section called the Decoder series. So you can download that. Anyway,
where did you send it? In the private chat? Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
This is a school board member.
Oh God, I hate
social
this
worker.
so much. I hate this so much.
I know, it's so bad. I'm sorry. I apologize to
Oh my God,
everybody in
Alvin. Oh,
advance.
before I lose the Rumble rant, Ellie
Yeah,
sent
please.
another one. She says,
Yes.
and I think she's talking about Rules for Radicals. She says, if I read that book, will my brain shrink? No, I don't think so, Ellie. I actually think it will teach you a whole lot about fighting political battles. I think
Yes,
Saul
it will.
Alinsky's book
Yeah.
is terrific for reasons he did not that he did not want me to think that. Okay.
Now, before we play the video, let's the people who just came in. I'm doing a off the cuff, what do you call it? A raffle contest, off the cuff, Rumble rant,
or super chat.
Or super chat. Whoever makes Megan laugh the most within the next hour, I will gift you this book.
And this is a great book. You want to have this book. It is a good book. It's got a lot of illustrations in it. It's not as long as it looks because there's a lot of pictures in it too. So
whoever makes her laugh, you'll send us an email to our team, Courage is a Habit general box, and we'll get your address, and I will have somebody send out that book to you right away today. So
absolutely. And I'll tell you what, right now Ellie's winning. She's the only one playing. If you're the only one playing the game,
shut up for the funniest super chat. Get in on the game now. Hey, Daisy, look at that. That's right. I am.
All right. Here it comes. Here is. You want to set up this video?
This video sets up itself. It's a school board member out of Maine. He's a social worker, and he's asking his fellow school board members on talking points on how to get around parental concern on porn.
Oh God. Here we go. Oh, Genderqueer. Yeah, he says it's his favorite book.
He does.
You all know Genderqueer. Oh,
so I think one of the things that I both personally and professionally am struggling with, and I so appreciate all this information, but the piece that I think folks get really hung up on are the piece around images. And I think about the book Genderqueer, which is a book that I personally love. It's in my bookshelf behind me. So you know that there's one or maybe even two images that, if taken out of context,
oh really?
They raise eyebrows, and they're really easy to get families concerned. The image I'm thinking about is an image where there's a depiction of oral sex happening. This were ripped from the pages of any number of adult magazines, it would be immediately stamped porn, and
as it should be
moved out of there. And so for me, I think what I'm needing from my allies is talking points and responses to that piece around the image and the graphic either depiction of the sexual encounter or the picture of the sexual encounter. And I've scripted stuff around the context matters and the motivation matters, but in a public forum, folks want us as members and as social workers and healthcare providers to be on their recording camera saying that we support pornography in school.
God.
That is the person that supports Chapter 117 in Maine, which further gives people like child mutilation advocates like him power to keep secrets from parents.
Tina, let me just address your question on Facebook. You said I'd play, but I have to get on a laptop to get on Rumble, and I have a different identity there. You can play on YouTube, Tina. If you're on YouTube, you can play on YouTube and use the super chats. On Facebook right now, they don't have a good way to do it. So you could watch on YouTube though, and send a super chat anytime you want. All right, Alvin, let's talk about, was it rule 117 or rule 17? I think I got it
117.
wrong. I said
117.
17, so it's 117.
117.
Please explain to me, where
Okay.
can I find this rule? I actually want to pull it up and look at it. This will be for my article later because I'm going to write about this today.
Yeah. So go ahead and go up to courageasahabit.org, and I will
Okay.
point you to where the actual article. So I'll point you to where I explain it, and then I'll point you to where the actual rule is, the real policy from the Maine DOE.
Can I just say how proud of myself I am today? I didn't boomer something up, by the way. When I got my second computer working, I had forgotten my password on it, which is why I couldn't use my second computer for like months, and I didn't even
Okay.
try.
Yeah,
Today,
yeah.
I figured out how to bypass and reset it through like a DOS screen.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I know.
You're actually writing the slashes and
Yeah,
everything.
I was like typing in
Wow.
commands, and it
Commands?
worked. It worked. Now I have to give
Wow.
Google credit, but I mean, man, it worked the first time I tried it. Who
Hey,
knew? Who
who
knew that
knew?
resetting your password was that easy though? Like, if it's
Uh,
that easy,
It's
what's the
hack. It's
point of
called hack. You
having?
hacked your own.
I hacked
You
my
hacked
own
your own
computer.
computer. Yes, congratulations. You hacked yourself. You played yourself, Megan. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm so proud of myself for that. I'm still like,
Hey, have you played my video yet on your channel?
Which
My
one?
117 video.
No, oh, I think
Oh,
I played a little bit of it yesterday. Ellie sent another Rumble rant.
okay.
She
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
"This isn't funny, but rants for pants. I have a clinical social work background. I know I could never go back into that field. This is not what I signed up for when I went to school." Oh, Ellie, I hear you, girlfriend. I hear you.
God bless you.
There are many people who feel that way. Although I do have to say, Ellie, maybe the industry needs you, you
Yeah.
know? Maybe it does, because maybe you could save one kid. And if you saved one kid from this shit, it would be worth it. Right?
God bless you, Ellie. Was it Ellie?
Yeah, Ellie.
Ellie, God
Love
bless you
Ellie.
for speaking out. There's a lot of ways you can speak out. I know that I have a few therapist friends who are stepping out of their industry and exposing it, and your voice is so damn important because there's so few of you. So,
Oh,
just get out
yeah.
there and start
That's
an
a good point. Hey,
Instagram.
well, Ellie has a Substack. Ellie,
Hey,
drop your Substack
please.
in the chat, please, and I will put it up on the screen for everyone, because Ellie does have a Substack, and
Hey.
she has interviewed me. She's interviewed
Oh,
Nick Rekieta, I believe, is coming
great.
soon. I'm not sure if that's up already, but she did a great interview with me. That was a lot of fun, and she's using that Substack as her voice, and I think it's great. Um, why is this Lady Autumn Sky wants to know, why is this guy not chased out of the school district? I mean, he literally just admitted that what they're looking at in that book is porn. If you took it out of a adult magazine, it would be banned. He
You'd
said
be
that.
right.
And the other thing is, Alvin, didn't I see the rest of this? I feel like I saw more of this video and no one answered his question. Like, no one wanted to go there. Am I wrong? That, like,
Uh,
it wasn't addressed what he was asking. Like, no one was like, "Oh, hey,
Yeah,
I know how
nobody.
to."
Yeah, there wasn't anybody that said anything to him. It was. I saw the rest of the video, and they were just the only thing anyone said is, "Well, they're taking it out of context or going
But
after
it's not
LGBT
out of
kids." That's it.
context. It's
It's not out of
literally
context.
for prurient interest. I mean, it's the
No,
definition of prurient interest.
no, this guy's. Well, we are trying to chase him out of the school district. That's the point. Maine is one of those areas where they're really deep into it, but a lot of parents still need to be woken up. And so, we've done some work in Maine. They're wonderful people, just kind-hearted people that can't believe this kind of evil exists. So someone like him hides as a school board member. He hides as a school counselor. He hides behind mental health, and he's pushing bills like 117. Which is what the video Megan will just click on right now. So no, Lady Autumn Sky, you're right. We got to be chasing these people out of school. We got to humiliate them, expose them, run them out of schools.
And I'm gonna put up Ellie Fant's Substack right now. So let me type that in
Perfect.
real quick, and then we'll start.
Yes, absolutely. Also, Ellie, if you don't know already, you probably do know. On Twitter, there's a wonderful woman named Pamela. Her IG handle is Red Pill red pilled LCSW. In fact, here I'll just put it up on the thing.
Oh, and Ellie, you probably could interview Alvin too if you wanted to interview him for your Substack. I'm sure Alvin would do it for you.
I'm happy to do it. Absolutely. But there's a couple of people who really do wonderful work in your field. That's so that you don't feel alone. So I'm gonna put the Twitter handles of the two people on Megan, so she can share that if she likes. But Ellie, definitely, I will follow your Substack. And there's a two Twitter.
Oh,
I
here
wanted
she
to,
is. So she's some therapist at some therapist, Stephanie Wynn. Am I
yeah.
following her? Yes, I am.
She's wonderful. In fact, I had a wonderful conversation with her last evening for her podcast. She's great. She's wonderful, great interviewer, really speaking out. And so Ellie, people like you and Stephanie and Pamela, there's just literally like 1% of you in your field speaking out against this. And while it's a little out of my lane in terms of, I focus on the K through 12, what's happening right now is the school counselors and social workers are recommending students out of the schools to people like your industry, and that's where they're separating the child from the parents. So if you guys don't speak up and kind of stop that bleeding on your end, it helps us a lot, because that way at least the school counselors and social workers don't have, like Chris Laughlin, the child mutilation advocate that we just saw. He's the kind of guy that will move children to your industry, and they start moving the child to the puberty blockers and surgeries. And that's how they get them out of the K through 12 into your industry, Ellie. So the more that people like you and Stephanie and Pamela can do, it at least puts that block for people that that helps my space.
Tina's got a great point here. Tina says, how many teens read the words in cartoons? Nah, they look at the pictures and make up the rest. So you're right. That's absolutely right. Like the context in that doesn't even matter. Like the context wouldn't even matter.
Sexualizing the kids.
You're just showing them porn. Like knock it off. Like it's enough. It's just stop. All right. How do I find this video, Alvin?
What
is
just
117?
click on watch.
Watch.
Click on watch.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Is it going?
Do it.
Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah.
Has Maine gone mad? Maine's Department of Education is about to pass a rule that lets school counselors and social workers take children away from their parents. The radical Chapter 117 will separate children from their families if they don't surrender to the gender identity madness. It lets schools conspire to keep parents in the dark about a child's gender transition. It even lets schools administer experimental shots like puberty blockers and synthetic hormones without parents ever finding out. And if you dare object to this, you lose your kids. You have until November 14th to stop this madness. Parents, let our state know how you feel. Go to courageisahabit.org and click on the link to leave your comments for the Maine Department of Education. Maine, it's time to stop the madness.
I love that video. I think you are doing such amazing work, Alvin. It's so great that you're doing this. But explain to me.
Yeah.
Where is the language of this rule? I want to see it, because I'm having a hard time believing that they're literally going to take your kids away. So you're going to have to prove that to me, Alvin.
Of course. Go ahead and go back to courageisahabit.org.
All right. Let's back up.
And so go ahead and you can close that. And then click on what is Chapter 117. And this gives you a description of our, because these laws are very vague. That's the problem. And even, so for my team, we look at this kind of stuff all the time. This is our job to look at this stuff. And when it came to 117, it took us over a week to figure out what it was. So, like I said, I'm not bragging about myself. The people that are my team looking at this stuff, they're very good at it. Particularly one person, she's excellent at it. It took her, and we actually had to talk to someone else in Maine that understood the Maine laws to help us fill some of the blanks that we couldn't fill out. Anyway, so let me just back up here for a second. And
here's the SEL surveys. Okay, so they're citing fraudulent evidence-based SEL surveys, which is why you should never let your kids take these things, by the way. Do not let them take surveys at school. You tell them if they are handing you a thing that has questions that aren't related to your work, like math and science and whatever, you don't answer them. And you tell the teachers, we're not doing data collection. No. And they
So,
manipulate them. That's how they come up with those. Isn't that how they come up with the suicidal crap that they're always talking about?
oh yeah,
They do
absolutely. They
surveys.
manipulate. Yeah, they
It's not
manipulate the.
scientific data.
No, it's just an interpretation of how they
Mhm.
interpret the data. So the problem with these kind of laws in Maine is that they keep it very general. They're like, they leverage things like client privilege if we feel the child is unsafe. But the problem is they don't define the word unsafe. In the practical sense, they define the word unsafe as if you don't affirm your child's identity.
All
But
right,
they don't say that.
let's read this. Chapter 117 takes advantage of a law passed in Maine in 1989 that gives school counselors with a master's degree privileged communication. So they did not have to share information with parents. But back then, there were very few, if any, school counselors with a master's degree. They were the guidance counselors we all grew up with. If client privilege were invoked, it was reserved for real abuse. More important, up until about 2014, school counselors were not activists and recruiters for the gender and sex ideology. Right. And I could see why, obviously, if there was real abuse, you don't share that with the parents that, like, oh, hey, I know you beat your kid. You
And
call
that's
the
such a rare,
authorities.
right? And that's always been what it was. So don't let anyone tell you that for some magical reason, without passing these really extreme transgender brainwashing laws, that we won't protect kids. We've always protected kids. This is why we set that there.
Oh, this is fantastic. A Rumble Rant just came in from
Beautiful.
why can't I read this? Naughty One. Is it Naughty One? She says, I just called my school and let them know my daughter was not attending their mental health struggle session and will not be marked as absent since we do not consent to struggle sessions. Now listen,
Brilliant.
I'm so
That's
happy.
what I want to see.
I am
That's what I
so
want to
I
see.
am so glad to hear that. And now listen
Yes.
to me. They will say that, yes, we agree, we will exempt her, but you make sure you tell your kid, you tell me if they try to make you do this, okay? Because they
Yes.
will continue to try it. Whether or not they mean to, they just forget or whatever it is, you have to stay on top of it. But I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Coco sent a super chat. She says, how awful. People need to wake up now. You're right. People do need to wake up. That is absolutely correct.
So right. And that's what Megan tries to do every day. She does a great job of trying to waking people up. And that's what she's trying to do, using her own personal thing, using other national things. And that's what we try to do. And it all adds up.
And Elephant sent another rant. She says, the struggle is real. I love the fact that you use the term struggle session, because that's exactly what all this shit is. It's just it's navel gazing struggle sessions that your child has there's no reason for your kid to be in this. None. Zero. Zip. Okay. You are the responsible for your child's emotional development. You are responsible for their behavior and how they view themselves in society and in the world. That's your job. And when the school tries to take that away from you, you need to say, whoa, hold the phone, back up, get off my property. You're on my yard now, sir. Off.
That's right.
Off. And you have the right to do that because you have a constitutional right to be a parent to your child. It's in the 14th Amendment. So if they want to fuck around, let them find out. And that's why I believe in having a lawyer and writing this stuff down and having a lawyer send a letter that says, these parents are going to parent their child. You are not going to parent their child.
I love that. I advise people all the time with that method that you use. It's wonderful. It's the first and only time. You're the only parent I've ever heard do that.
I know, right? Isn't it crazy? And wait, before we go back to this, just for some comic relief, because if you want to know what type of letter I'm talking about, I'm going to have you listen to Nick Rekieta's version of my letter.
You know what? That will never not be funny.
I know. I literally wrote this letter and I asked Nick to rewrite it. Like if he were,
he's back on Twitter, by the way. This is great. Welcome back.
Oh yeah, the Pope is on Twitter. I forgot to mention that he has been brought back to Twitter.
A lot of people have. It's wonderful. I'd love to see that.
That happened yesterday.
James Lindsay's back, and a lot of people are back.
James Lindsay's back too. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. So in case you're wondering what type of letter that you need to send to your school, it's totally up to you whether you want to use Nick's type of language or mine. But this is how this is going to go right here. I think that we need to play this. All right.
Sure.
Is that I want you to rewrite this letter the way you talk to YouTube when you write letters, so that we could have two versions. We could have my letter, which you could actually send, and then you could have the one that Nick would do, with all the cursey words that we could all write out, and like I'll send to you. I'll put out on Twitter, and you guys can, like, I don't know, just maybe you'll send it to your administrator. You could, but I mean, I wouldn't suggest calling them a cunt, because I know that will be in there.
Oh no, I wouldn't call them a cunt.
All right, well, let's hear it. What would you?
Okay, so this letter is to inform you cucks. In brackets, it would say cucks. That student name is represented by me, Rekieta Law, in all legal matters and also personal matters, because fuck you. In the event that any member of the Communist Police Force, the Sheriff's Department, the FBI, the Child Welfare Agent, or any other agent of the bootlicking state to be defined as those with arrest and or seizure powers, or any asshole with a badge, which includes any representative from the Department of Human Services, Social Services, Child Protective Services, Dickhole Services, Health Department, or otherwise empowered government official, should seek to meet with, speak to, fondle, or obtain information from my client.
Fondle.
There's no please. Notify me fucking immediately. And if you don't, I will hollow your ass out like a porn star on Thursday. My client has been instructed of her Fifth Amendment right and will invoke it until I can arrive. And since my client is a minor and may not be fully cognizant of her rights in a given moment, is invoking it by my authority right now and at all times. It is my expectation that your gay school district will observe my client's constitutional rights, because you're a fucking state actor, you fucking fairies, as a U.S. citizen and a minor who's entitled to proper representation, which is me, not you. You people are scum. If questioned by any fucking Fed. That's what it would say. There you go.
Any fucking Fed. If questioned by any fucking Fed.
I know, porn star on a Thursday.
Oh God, I don't know how he comes up with this stuff off the cuff like that.
On the cuff like that. It's just pure comedy gold.
I know. Ellie sent another rant, says, get off my lawn. I'm with you, Ellie. Get off my lawn.
My dream is to write an opt-out letter like that through Courage as a Habit one day and put that out. That would be my dream.
So
I think I'll hang it up then after that. I would have peaked then.
But look, it works. It actually does work. And the reason why I actually started sending that letter a long time, when I first put my children in school many years ago, after I did homeschooling, it's because of my my work, my journalism. I cover CPS cases, and I cover CPS corruption.
Family court and everything.
I cover family law, family court, and I was really deep into it at the time. And I was very concerned after watching and being a witness to how Child Protective Services behaves when they come to question children at schools, and they particularly choose to go to the school because they know you're not there, and they have full powers at the school, because the school administration never push back. They just give them the free reign. So I thought, well, how can my children have constitutional rights? Just because they're children doesn't mean they don't have all the rights that we have as adults. They do. They have constitutional rights.
Yeah.
And they have a right to an attorney. They have a right not to be interrogated without an attorney or a parent present. And if it's an abuse situation, it can't be a parent. It has to be another representative. So it has to be a lawyer, which is why I think it's better coming from a lawyer than it is coming from a parent, because they can't overstep that one.
They can't,
they will lose that in court. Like, if they've been on notice that your child has a lawyer, and they better call that lawyer. If any agent of the state comes and they don't, it's a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk.
I love it.
Super Chad from Chininator says, I said Super Chad. That's funny. Super Chad. Why are there any pregnant Barbies? Because Ken came in a different box. Why aren't there any pregnant
Barbies? Because Ken came in a different box. Hey, you know what? That I like that.
You like that one? You like that? All right, I'm
you
gonna
know what?
I'm gonna write Chininator down.
That's not. That's a very classless and very crass. And as my opponents will tell you, I am a very classless and crass person. and so.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so let's go back over to where we were.
Let's go back.
Where
117,
were we?
117, right? 117.
117.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's go
It's
back to
not
117.
Casel. Here we go. Here we are. All right. Okay, so we're at the part where it says today, Maine K through 12 and other places, by the way,
The
not
screen
just Maine.
isn't, did you
Oh,
want
it's
to pop
not.
it up?
Oh,
Oh,
yep, I got to pop it up. Yep, I keep forgetting. All right, thank you for being on top of that.
I got
Is
you.
plagued with activist school counselors and social workers that continually redefine the words safe and abuse. If parents do not agree with gender social contagion, then the parents are abusive and the child is not safe. This is how they're setting the foundation to separate children from their parents.
Let me just say that this is how they're setting the foundation. So
Mhm.
when you read a bill, it doesn't say, I'm going to take your kids away if you don't agree with transgender ideology. Of course not. They wouldn't put it on the nose like that because they can't, because they're not far enough along. So when
Mhm.
you read 117, and I'll break it down. And again, please do not feel bad if you're reading a bill and you're like, I don't see it. What are you talking about? It took us. This is what we do for a living. It took us a week of researching and asking people who are understanding Maine law to understand this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
the
they
rest of
do
it
this
doesn't
on
really,
purpose. They do it on purpose. They make it intentionally
like,
vague
for
on
example, they
purpose.
go, oh, they have to. So when they do stuff like this, every state has to have open comments.
Mhm.
So they can say, we allow the public to weigh in, but look at what time they open the
9
comments.
to 11 a.m. Oh, give me a
On a
break.
weekday. And you know who showed up?
The activists who have no jobs and are paid to be there.
Exactly right. And you know, there was like 6 or 7 activists that showed up that made the comments. You know who one of them was? Chris
Who?
Laughlin.
Oh, do we have that on video? Because I bet
We
that was
do.
hilarious.
It's funny you asked that. That is our next video.
Oh, good. So I should back up?
Well, no, we haven't released it yet, but we will.
Oh,
We
you
will
haven't
be.
released
We
it
released
yet.
it yet.
Darn,
That
I was
is,
all
we will.
excited.
Oh
I was
no,
so excited.
yeah, no, but we this is our 3rd video of him. We'll show you the second one. Anyway, so the point is, so go ahead and scroll down a little bit. We give them examples of what parents can do. The deadline was November 14. Now, if you click on the site, it goes somewhere else. But go ahead and scroll back up a little bit, and then we'll go to the actual bill itself. So that way people can know.
Where's the bill? Let's see. Written comments.
Let's see. Do I?
Oh, here. This law?
Yeah.
This
Oh
one.
no.
No, you mean
117,
chapter
sorry.
117.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold on.
chapter 117.
I think I have to stop sharing. Did the screen change or no?
No,
I can't tell. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to reshare. Hold on.
Okay. So it goes to the actual official policy. It's called law. It's called rule, not a bill. It's called rule in Maine.
Rule.
Yeah.
So they passed a rule. What's the difference between a rule and a law?
A law is basically saying this is what you have to do, but the rule fills in the details.
So the rule is not really, is it voted on?
It
is.
It is voted on by, it is not voted on, but it's passed by a committee. So a committee gets together and says, no, this is too. So for example, the law basically says school counselors needs to work with students more, let's say. And then the rule says, oh, they need to spend 80% of their time. So one of the details in the rule says that school counselors must spend 80% of their time with students. Again, this is more indoctrination time because school counselors don't spend 80% of their time with students.
You know, ever since that school counselor did that thing she did to my kid, I banned her from speaking to my children at all. And I don't, unless it has to do with class schedule, like they have to talk to her about a class schedule. That's the only thing they're allowed to talk to her about. And ever since then, she has been trying desperately to get my youngest daughter, the new one, because the oldest one is completely lost to her. She knows my oldest daughter. She's completely lost. The younger one, though, she comes home the other day and she says, you know, it's hard not to like her. I said, she's doing that on purpose.
Caroline Stone.
She's doing it on purpose.
It's a Caroline Stone.
I said, remember that she's a psychologist, okay? She said
they're the master
manipulators. And she was like, I know, Mom, I know you're right, but it is hard not to like her. I said, you can like her all you want. Just don't be alone with her.
You as a intelligent, experienced, grown woman with a lot of wrote books, journalist. What did you say to me?
Dr. Stone got to me.
What did you say to me?
I said, I liked her.
I liked her. There you go.
I liked her. I liked her. It was impossible not to like her. I still like her. I still look. I still like her. I had a nice conversation with her where she talked to me for an hour. Not many people do that. She totally manipulated me. We went over the whole thing, and you're right. She did.
And now,
but it's hard
imagine
not to
doing it-
like people like this who know how to
And
push
how
your
old
buttons.
your younger daughter is? Whatever age she is.
She's
Imagine
13.
13. Okay, you accomplished, intelligent, experienced journalist, mother, wife, writer, author.
I know, and I couldn't resist it. How is a 13-year-old supposed to resist it?
How?
Bad Weather sent a super chat. Thanks so much for the $20 super chat. Most of the time, social workers know they have no grounds to talk to a child. It's teachers and administrators that pull rank and call their managers to force the issue. Married to a 20-plus year CPS worker. Oh, that's interesting. By the way,
Weather bike. Thank you.
Bad Weather, tell
thank you for the
your
comment.
tell your wife or husband. I'm not sure if it's a wife or husband.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that that's a very difficult job, and I hope you don't think that I just am railing on CPS workers all the time. Just the bad ones. Just the bad ones.
They're just taking over. Just like therapists. Just like Ellie, I think it was. Her therapist. And
somebody else said psychologists are psychopaths with a degree. Oh,
hey, and this is out of country.
I know.
Hey, look at Megan. You've got your followers are around the world.
Oh, I know. They are. They're from everywhere. They're from absolutely everywhere. Vince Clortho sent a super chat, says, my Catholic 1st to 12th education messed me up. Did it though? You sure? You sure about that? I don't know. My kids had Catholic education from, my middle one from 2nd grade until 7th. And I think it's the only thing that has solidified her base. Yeah, it has protected her.
It depends on what school he went to and the kind of people that were there.
Yeah, it definitely depends.
There's a lot of pedophilia there as well, just like it is today with the school counselors and teachers.
Not as much as in the public school.
No, not as much anymore.
Twice as much.
Twice as
much. Yeah.
Maybe 3 times.
There was a congressional study actually that said there was 50 times of the sexual abuse in public school system than the Catholic Church problem. And that, of course, makes sense because think about how many schools there are and how big they are. And and so that was a 1997 study done by Congress, and it was.
So, hey, Megan, before we go on to 117, the actual bill itself, show your book again. On the cuff, we did it and I apologize if I'm not doing this right, but on the cuff, I'm gifting this book to anybody that does a rant or a
Rumble rant or a super chat with the one that's the funniest that makes me laugh.
Makes Megan laugh by the time we're done in another maybe 40 minutes, 30 minutes. And whoever makes her laugh the most, you send the address to the team at courageishabit.org and I'll give you that book. This is the contest, off the cuff contest that we didn't plan.
That's right. And actually, Alvin, you can also, we can let them choose. If they choose this one, Believe Evidence, I can actually get them a signed copy of this one because I have some. I have some that I can actually get a signed copy of this one. I don't have any of the Shut Up in. I don't think I have any, but I can get a signed one of this one out to you. So
let's do it. Okay,
it'll be your choice. It'll be your choice.
Signed copy from Megan on the Believe All Women.
Believe Evidence, Alvin. Believe Evidence,
Believe
not
All
women
movement. The Me Too movement.
It's Believe Evidence, the death of due process from Salome to #MeToo. And it's basically just an answer to Me Too, why we can't believe all women. Stephanie says it's a fantastic book. I couldn't put it down. I laughed until I cried. And I think she's talking about Shut Up because Believe Evidence does not make you want to laugh. It's scary.
I was like, which book is she laughing about?
This one is scary, but Shut Up is really funny. And there's just some hilarious hijinks in that one. You just cannot even believe.
I believed in what, Megan's wonderful. She does such good work, and that is something I want to do personally for whoever makes her laugh. That's the thing. I'm not, I'm gonna personally gift it. I'm not even gonna put it through Courage's Habit. It'll just be through me personally. Okay. So
that's so sweet of you.
So
I
please
appreciate that.
Comment, do the Rumble chats, do the super chats, and Rumble rants or super chats, and we'll get that out there.
Of course, Ellie, you would have to be difficult. I can't get you a signed one of Shut Up. I can only get you a signed copy of Believe Evidence because I don't have any more.
You don't have any more?
Copies,
wow.
no.
Okay.
Although I could send you an insert sticker. I could do. I could get you a signed sticker you could stick inside the book.
There you go. There you go.
So we can do that.
Hey, we're trying. We're trying.
We're trying here. We're
Trying to have
trying.
fun. Yeah.
Yes, Hugh, that is my mother on the cover of Shut Up. Isn't she funny? She's hilarious.
That's your mother? Come on.
Oh yeah, and I took this picture, and she is so funny. You know what's hilarious is that my sister, my oldest sister, when she saw the cover of the book, she called me and she was yelling at me, and she was like, "I can't believe you did that to Mom. I can't believe you put her out. She looks terrible." And I'm like, "That was the point." And I said to her, I said, "Your mother is a much funnier woman than you think. She thought it was hilarious.
That's
She
your
loves
mom
this."
on the cover? Are you
Yes.
serious?
Yes, that's my mama. I took this picture, and my friend, Kia Heavey, who's an amazing, book cover designer,
Oh my
she
God.
designed it.
Are
It was
you
actually
serious?
Oh, yeah, it was her idea, and then she goes, "Take your mom, have your mom take her to the library, give her the a book, and make her do the ugly faces at you, the
Oh
funny, like a
my God.
mean librarian."
Come on.
And you know what the
That's
fun
so funny.
I know, and you know what the best part is? My mother, and there's a picture. So I told my sister, I said, "Look, don't worry. I put a beautiful picture of my mom in this book because it was so funny that she was on the cover looking so terrible. And here,
Yeah.
I'll show
Did
you.
you actually put up a
I put her beauty queen day.
Oh.
My mother was Miss Waikiki. Can
Are
you see
you
that?
serious? Oh
Uh-huh.
my God.
Is she
She was Miss
gorgeous?
Waikiki? Jesus.
She was first runner up to Miss Hawaii twice. Twice.
Wow.
She was, absolutely gorgeous. She lived in Hawaii, and the Beach Boys were always trying to date her.
Oh,
She was yeah. She went to
the
school with
Beach Boys were always trying to date her.
always trying to date her. Yes, it's a true story. And she went to high school and was very good friends with Bette Midler before she went crazy.
Oh.
And my mom and Bette were friends for years and years until
No
Bette went
kidding.
very far left and my
Yeah, yeah,
mother
yeah.
went far right, and then the two
Ah.
of them split up. But we still have I have like, she would send my mother birthday cards, with, big with
Wow.
letters in them, and one of them she sent was her holding a heart, and she was naked behind it, and it was Bette, a card of Bette, and inside it was the funniest note. She was like, "Can you believe this? Can you believe that there's a card with my picture on it?" Like it was great. I think she still has it somewhere.
That's cute. That's cute. It's sad when people split up over, lifelong friends over politics.
I know. Which Beach Boy was
It's
the
the
real
real question.
question? I don't remember. I mean, she doesn't remember either. She used to go to all these, clam bakes on the beach, and they were always there. They were just always there, and they were always one of them at least was trying to take her to California and stuff.
Sure.
She was not into it.
It's always trying to take women to California.
I know.
man.
You
I'm
don't
trying to
wanna
leave
get 'em off
California.
the
Always trying to take women to California. This is
T. Liz Bird says, "I donated, not pledged, donated all of my divorce money to get the book. I'm still questioning my identity though. Tina or Liz." Thank you, Tina.
Okay, that's funny. I'm trying to call my divorce money.
And it was $5, by the way.
It's my, my divorce money. Hey, that's funny. Okay, that's funny.
All right, let's see. All right. Did I miss any? Let me scroll up real quick to make sure I didn't miss
Yeah.
any. Hashtag he too. You guys are funny. I want to. Okay. Nope. All right. So what are we moving on to, Alvin? What are we looking at? We want to
So
pull this up.
117 again. These are really dry bills. Once you get into the bill, it's very dry.
But that's what we're
No.
here for. We're here to make the
Yeah.
vague understandable.
Big,
So
yeah.
why don't we do it?
So go ahead and scroll down to 117. I should probably update that so it goes right there.
There we go. No, it's right here.
So there you go. So the proposed language. So go to the proposed language. I probably should just go
Alright.
right to the proposed language. I
Oh
should
wait,
make it.
it had to download it for me. Shoot, I don't think I can share this.
Okay, can I do this? Can I send it? I'll send it to you. Hang on. I got it.
If
right
you
here.
have it up
I have
on,
it.
yeah, it has to
Yeah,
be
no.
on like a.
No, I got it. Yep. I got the proposed language right here. Hang on.
Okay, perfect. Because if you have it on a web
Nope.
page, then I
Yep.
can pull it
I
up.
have it. Yep. Here you go.
Stephanie says Tina needed a better lawyer for that divorce.
$5. Yeah.
Stephanie could have got you more.
Yeah.
Just, let's see.
Hey, your fans are having fun today.
I
Trying to earn your
know,
buck.
I
It's good.
know.
I
We
love
should
it.
try and do that every day. I
We
feel
should
like
do
I'm
it.
just no good at the grift. But you know what? I have a whole stack of books behind me, so maybe I should do this more
You should
often.
do this.
I
Do this
should.
contest. I love it. No,
All
come
right,
on. I love it.
where is it?
Oh, a
Did you
private
drop
chat.
it?
I private chat. Yeah.
It's not there. It went right to the,
Oh, it's not in the private chat?
it
I
went to
just
the thing we just read, the chapter 17 or 117 that we just read.
uh
I think it's the
oh,
wrong link.
sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. Hang on.
We're
You're
looking
right.
for the bill
You're right. No,
language.
I'm looking for hang on. Yeah, let me look up the language here. Here you go. You know what? Hang on.
Rumble chat's the best chat. Make sure you hit that plusy button, guys. Don't forget to do that because we've got a good crowd today. There's like 162 of you watching, but we got to get those rumbles up. Let's try and get to the front page. We've only got 75 with 167 of you in there. I think we can do better than that. And don't forget, if you want a giveaway book today, send the rumble rants in the super chats, like on Facebook, and share the stream, like on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. All right. Did you send it? Let's see.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna send it right now. It's coming up to
Okay.
you right this second here.
Man, I think I like this two
There we
screens
go.
thing. I like this two screens thing. I can
There we
actually
go.
pay attention to everything that's happening in there. The Rumble chat's the best chat. If you guys on YouTube, well, it's okay, Vince, if you don't Rumble because YouTube has a super chat function. So you can play the game today. And I can show you exactly how to do that because guess what? Here it is. So you go down to where you're going to chat something and you hit that little money button right there and you can send $1, $2, $5. You could send me $400. I would be thrilled. But it's up to you. And that's how you play. All right.
That's right. Make your
All right,
comments, make her laugh.
Let me
Win a book.
Let me check. All right, there it is. All right, let me pull that up. Share. How do I share this? Share screen. God, I have too many tabs open. This is getting ridiculous.
So while she's opening that,
Here it
I
is.
want you to know that while this is in Maine, likely there is a bill that already exists or they're working on a bill very similar in your state.
Oh, I guarantee it. Guaranteed.
So now let me before we get into the details of the bill, and I won't bore you to death here, but some of you may or may not know that there are some states that have passed actual state laws that are saying that will separate you from your child if you don't let them do like puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, or surgeries. Some of those states are California SB 107, Michigan's Prop 3. Virginia is about to reintroduce House Bill 580, which they tried in 2020 and failed. Okay, so those statewide bills are because those states are so extreme that they've already saturated the schools with bills like this. Every time a bill like this comes into school, the child mutilation advocates will say, show me in the bill where it says that. But they're dishonest because it keeps it vague enough where they talk about things like safety and if it's abuse or neglect. And they, instead of looking at it like
it's Proposition 3 all over again.
It is, except lighter in the school level.
Because they put the vague language in so that they can push whatever they want into it. Do you see?
So let's take a look at Section 2A.
All right, 2A. Hold on, let me get over there. Section 2A. All right. Clinical practice is a specialty area which focuses on the assessment, diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of mental illness. Man, right there, I am so pissed that this is even in schools.
Stop right there. Assessment, diagnosis, treatment. But what does treatment mean?
What is treatment?
Of mental illness, emotional, and other disturbances. Now, when parents read that, they're like, show me where it says. Because it's so vague, treatment is breast
binders. Yeah.
Tucking, transition closets, emotional other behavior, the emotional disturbances.
Puberty blockers.
What's the emotion? Clinical, right? This is clinical. What's the emotional disturbance? My parents don't affirm me.
Oh God.
You see what I mean? How is a parent going to look at that and draw that line?
Yeah, right. And as long as they don't put the language in there, they can then honestly say to you, it's not in there.
It's not
which
in
is
there.
what they did with Proposition 3.
Now,
but they made a mistake with Proposition 3 and they put the word sterilization in there.
But they did because you know why? They've already done this in their school. So they've already separated enough children that they can put it into their constitution. In Maine's case, or in California, it's actually a law. Now go down to section, and now all of it's bad, all of it's horrible, but go down to F, 2F.
All right, hold on a second. Let's see. F. Okay, here we are. Privileged communication. Oh, this is bad. Privileged communication means a school counselor or school social worker may not be required, except as provided by 20-A
And you got to go look
MRSA.
that up, which we did.
Right.
Yeah.
And what is the exception?
Basically, it doesn't. The exception is if the child is actually in any like they're gonna basically kill them, like literal, like they're
But
in physical.
well, it might not even be that though, because didn't your school counselor here say that
No
even
matter what the danger,
no matter
I'm not
what
gonna
the
out him.
danger, I'm not going to
Right.
out them?
That's
So
right.
I wonder, is that in violation of this 20-A MRSA, I wonder?
But they work around it because they're not in immediate danger. They're
Right.
just saying they don't feel safe. You see, so this is why redefining the word safe and abuse is so dangerous, because they can now move in and out of that as they see fit. The point is, it's always about separating the parent. That's it. That's the goal of these mental health policies.
Right.
Okay.
So a school counselor may not be required, except as whatever these small
Yeah.
exceptions are, to
Yeah.
divulge or release information gathered during a counseling relation with a client or with the parent, guardian, or person or agency having legal custody of a minor client.
Think about how difficult that is to understand.
Yeah.
Right? And you really got to read that, and you really got to talk to people who understand the language. They write it this way, so no normal parent go, oh, that's what they're doing. But that's exactly what they're doing. And what they do is they send these really bad actors, these child mutilation advocates, to go out to try to gaslight parents and say, show me where. That's not what they're saying. But we know that's exactly what they're doing, because we've seen it in other states. And
Yeah.
we've seen it with people like Chris Laughlin,
Right.
who is a child mutilation advocate. That's what he wants. He wants kids to go down that puberty blocker, cross-sex hormones and surgeries.
And we know from your investigation into ASCA, they're actually
it.
working with hospitals.
That's right.
So they have a direct pipeline to surgeons and puberty blocking distributing doctors to get this stuff done.
You know what? I'm going to say this is one more step. They have access to people like Chris Laughlin, who's a social worker. That's the middle. That's the middle landing part before they go to surgeries. So ASCA goes into people like Chris Laughlin, who further confirms, you know what? We've treated them, and they need the gender affirming care beyond the cross-sex hormones. We recommend surgery. They connect to the hospitals. So ASCA themselves don't have a direct link to the hospitals. They connect to people like Chris Laughlin, who has to direct to the hospitals, which is why this 117 allows people like Chris Laughlin, social workers, to be able to take a child and go, oh, you're afraid to tell your parent? You must be in danger. We will protect you. We're a safe space.
God.
This is why parents can't see it. This is why they can't get their arms around it, because it's so vague. And then they got these bad actors that come along and goes, oh, you're just conspiracy theories.
Well,
That's
and
not what's happening.
you literally, it goes back to what Nancy Pelosi was famous for saying. You have to pass it to know what's in it.
That's right.
You have to pass it to
what's in
know what it can do, because they're not going to tell you what it can do.
Once this is passed and the parents push back, you know what they're going to say. What? You want to kill kids? You're a bigot?
Right.
So they try to say it's not
Exactly.
happening. And then once it happens, they go, it's good, it's happening.
Light Giver, thanks for the super chat. Says pants, pants, pants. I love
Pants
pants.
on
Durno
Guy?
1804 says, guy goes to the shrink, says, I had a Freudian slip at breakfast. Shrink asked what it was. I wanted to say, please pass the salt, darling, but I accidentally said, bitch, you ruined my life. That's good.
What was that? Was that a super chat?
Uh-huh. That was a super chat. We're writing that one down.
So what it is to make it more specific, ASCA, okay, American School Counselor Association, we just support all kids, counselors to the therapists to the operating table. So it's a direct pipeline that goes like that, okay? It goes from the counselors to the social worker to the, which is a therapist outside of school, right to the surgery table. So, people like Matt Walsh, Billboard Chris, people like Christina, Swipe Right, those guys are doing great work at exposing the hospitals those surgeons, they should go to a special place in hell. But I will say this, I'm not defending them, but I'm going to say this. They are holding the scalpel in front of the surgery table. What they're not doing is they're not driving the kids to that surgery table. Okay? They're not going to the schools and driving the child.
Right.
What they're doing is they're holding the scalpel, waiting, and the people driving the kids to that surgery table are the Chris Laughlins, are the Caroline Stones, are the Emily Goodmans, are the Tara, whatever her name is, right? Tara in Maine, Kierstead. The social workers, school counselor, mental health, SEL professionals, they're the ones that's driving the kids to the surgery table so that these doctors that Billboard Crits and them are exposing, they're doing the surgery.
Now, according to Dr. Stone, though, she would say that doesn't happen, Alvin.
No.
By the way, your Twitter handle is being requested in the Rumble chat. It's at Courage Habit. I'm going to drop that in there for you guys on Twitter. It's at Courage Habit. You can follow Alvin on Twitter. But Barbara Stone says that Dr. Stone says that doesn't happen.
No.
That the counselors, they only drive kids to get birth control when, on very rare occasions, and they're not supposed to. And they're not supposed to. And for sure, that's not really happening. And maybe that didn't actually happen. We're not sure. She just used it as an example.
Let's listen to one of her people, like Chris Laughlin. Let's do another video. Let's do another break. Let's do another video of Chris Laughlin talking about, let's do that.
The parents. Oh, by the way, somebody just asked in the chat in Rumble, who's paying for it? It was Red Jen. Hey, Jen, who's paying for the surgeries that those schools are pushing? Your insurance.
Your insurance.
Your insurance. It's not going to be the school.
In California, it's taxpayers because surgeries are subsidized in California, which will then be the same in other areas. You'll start doing that. So California is taxpayers. It is a tell me if this sounds familiar. It is a public health. It's public health issue. Transgender, they need the surgery or they'll die. They'll die without the surgery. They'll die without the pronouns. They'll die without the cross-sex hormone. So in California, taxpayers are doing it. Other states is still insurance. But as you brainwash children in the transgender cult through Chapter 117, ASCA, those kind of things, people like Chris Laughlin, they'll need it or they'll die. It's life and death.
Jen, you've got a good point. Jen says, will your insurance have to pay for it even if you don't know about it? I think by the time you get to that point, you're going to know about it, but it's forced on you. Like you don't have a choice.
Because they will die.
Right. So you're either going to be told you're going to do this, or the state will just take your kid and they will do it for you. And then the state would pay for it. Now, unfortunately, God, what a terrible choice for a parent, because, at that point, it's like, I don't think I could ever consent to that. I think I would have to say, take my child then, because I'm not going to have that on my, I'm not going to have that on my conscience. I'm not going to have that on my conscience. No way. I'm not going to pay for that. Yeah. You get absugged. Exactly, Jen. Exactly. You get absugged. They take your kid. I mean, look at poor Cynthia Absug. She's doing what her doctors tell her to do, and she still gets her kid taken. So you either, you're screwed either way. You do it if you do the thing they say, you can be screwed, and if you don't do the thing they say, you can be screwed. The best thing you can do is like what my mother did for us. My mother, we had an idyllic childhood. Just love your kids, treat them well.
Keep them away from this.
Keep them close to you. Develop a relationship with them so that they never want to leave you, and keep telling them. Every time you do something wonderful for them, you tell them foster care is a place where kids get abused and beat up. And if you ever use a lawyer to get out of my house, you're going to need one to get back in. That's what my mother used to tell us. She'd say, if you ever use a lawyer to get out of my house, you're going to need one to get back in. And she was not kidding. And, she was right to say that. And you need to lay it out to your children, because sometimes they don't understand. I think in that case, the Absug case, the teen daughter wanted to get out of the house. And I think she told a story to get out of the house, to get into foster care, because she didn't like her mother's rules. Kids do stuff like that, but they have to understand what the reality is. Now, because of my work, I've told my kids what the reality is, and they know darn well that foster care is a place that they should be very, very scared of.
Give your children earned self-confidence, because self-confidence, self-worth is the greatest inoculator against cults. And that's really what it is. Real earn. The word key is earn. Earn self-worth. Give your children opportunities to challenge themselves and overcome failures, and they'll feel good about themselves. When they feel good about themselves, they don't get wrapped up in these cults.
Absolutely. This is why tiger moms don't have problems with this, because tiger moms have their kids are practicing the piano for 5 hours a day. They just literally don't have time
They
to
don't
get
have time.
involved in
That's right.
this
And there's
social
nonsense.
media nonsense.
Because you give them something, yeah.
This is why sports are great, why
All
learning musical instruments are great.
right.
These are all
Anything
things
that
kids ought to be.
challenges you. Yeah.
Yes, learning a skill, any skill, cooking, any
Anything
skill,
that makes them
any
feel good about themselves, so that they're not identifying as their some made-up sexuality.
Right, right. All right, here we go. Let's watch this, shall we?
One of my rules of thumb is to always follow the lead of the youth. That it is not ever my role, regardless of where I'm practicing, to out that kid to their parent, even if there are safety issues present, which, as many folks know, the behavioral health outcomes for this population is pretty scary.
I'm sorry, I have to stop that. I have to stop this. Even if there are safety issues present, what kind of adult, seriously, what kind of adult says that even if there are safety issues present, I will not tell the children's legal guardian parent about it? Are you kidding me? Alvin, this should be illegal.
I follow the lead of the youth.
Yeah, who does that?
You know who says that? Pedophiles. That
Pedophiles.
he wanted. I just followed him. He wanted it.
Upon the horizon, says Megan. Do you remember something hilarious I said in the last few weeks? I forget. I had a really good one. You have really good ones every day. And if you can think of it and throw it in the rumble in a rant, you might win.
Hey, go back like 10 or 15 seconds, because it's skipped for me. So I don't know if it's skipped for other people.
No,
So
it's
go back
skipped?
like,
okay.
Yeah, just go back like 10, 15 seconds.
All
there you
right.
go, like that.
Out
Yeah.
that kid to their parent, even
Wait,
if
I'm
there
going to
are
go back
safety
further.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
regardless of where I'm practicing, to out that kid to their parent, even if there are safety issues present, which, as many folks know, the behavioral health outcomes for this population is pretty scary at times. Even if those safety issues are present, it would not be ever appropriate for me to out that youth to their caregivers without their consent.
Children can't consent.
Remember,
They can't
caregiver.
consent.
You know, it's the caregivers, not
Oh, yeah.
parents.
Caregiver. Yeah, I did I tell you about the thing that came home from school that said, do this with your home partner?
Whole partner, yeah.
Home
Yeah,
partner.
I'm
Are
right,
you
yeah.
kidding? I crossed it out and wrote parent and
Parent,
sent it
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be referred to as a home partner. No. You know what? I did not go through 24 hours of labor and tearing in places that are unmentionable to be called a home partner.
Or yeah, caregiver, like you're a freaking nanny.
I'm a mother. I am a parent. I am not a caregiver. I am not a home partner.
I
did not.
agree with Pootie Tang.
I-
That's what I thought too. The first time I saw him, Pootie Tang. I agree.
I know, right? Pootie Tang says, geez, I just got here and I'm already suspicious of Chris McLaughlin.
I felt the same way the first time I saw him, Pootie Tang. You're absolutely right.
He does have a vibe, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
He's got a vibe. Coming up at 2, we've got 10 minutes before my next guest shows up. Coming up at 2:30, I think Good Logic is going to be here. I hope. I haven't heard from him though, and he does like to sleep in. So I don't know. I hope he's not sleeping. I haven't heard from him yet. So if he shows up, he shows up. I hope he's showing up. If not, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We always have fun here. All right, should we keep going here?
Just keep going. Yeah, finish it.
All right.
So proud to be a member and a leader within the National Association of Social Workers, leading the chapter here in Maine and being part of the national leadership team. They do an amazing job with education and advocacy. My social work colleagues out there will know that this is now baked within our code of ethics, and we as social workers are called upon to advocate on behalf of marginalized populations, including sexual and gender minority individuals, youth, and otherwise. So I see a lot of progress there. I see a lot of movement in the right directions, and I see a lot of opportunity
for continued growth.
They are the most insufferable, self-important, arrogant assholes I think I've ever seen in my whole life. These social workers and these school counselors, if you want, your brain will melt when you see the amount of insufferableness in their trainings and in their conferences. They
Yeah, I
are
mean,
the
I hate the way they talk to you. Like,
they're
the way they
they're
talk, and what I mean is,
self-important.
I hate the way they talk about parents. You
Yeah,
know, they talk about parents in a way that's like it's all
the
about
inconvenience.
getting around
Yeah,
us, you know,
always
like
getting around.
always getting around us instead. And remember when Dr. Stone tried to tell me that, oh no, that's not true at all. We are in partnership with parents. We work together with parents. We never want to go over the parents' heads. That is such a damn lie. I mean, there are lies and then there are damn lies. That's a damn lie.
Hey, you know what? I didn't send you.
Mm.
I released this and I totally forgot to send it to you because I don't know why, because I send you everything. But I released this and then I think we were doing some other projects. Here, maybe I did send it to you, but check this out.
What is it?
Go ahead and play this. This is Caroline Stone.
Oh.
With another same thing,
Okay.
the same conference that we got her stuff on.
Oh God, Eric, wait.
Yeah,
Where's Chris
Have a
Hansen
seat.
when you need him?
Take a seat.
Oh, Eric, you might have just gone up
You
on
might
the
have just
list.
take a seat.
Chris Hansen.
Take a seat.
Oh my
Write that down.
gosh.
That's good.
I'm writing that one down.
But this is I just put it in the private chat. This is
Take
Caroline
a
Stone.
seat.
Take a seat. So
God,
Caroline
I
Stone.
missed that show. I missed that show
Oh, I
so
love
much.
that show.
I
He
missed
was
To
so
Catch a
good.
Predator so much. I just think
He was so good at it.
so good. I don't know why they quit it because they said that it was like entrapment or something. And I'm like, who cares?
We
Entrap
could
these
use more
people all
Chris.
day
We
long.
could use more Chris Hansen right now.
And there's just something great about him too, and the way he did this, the way he
It's
did
so
it.
calm.
Yeah, like the guys that do it, like the pedo hunters on YouTube and stuff,
Yeah.
they're too intense. Like
Mhm.
I love Chris
Chris
Hansen's
Hansen he's such a
his
pro.
approach, you know,
Oh, his
like,
approach.
oh, come on in, sit down, have a seat.
Come sit down.
Let's talk. And then he pulls out the
Hello.
papers.
Yeah, put the paper. He's like, so
And so back here, you
Joe
sit.
sucked my dick 2001. It says here.
Exactly. Oh God. Oh, I loved him so much. I loved him
It
so
says
much.
here. The ass.
Oh, I loved him so much. Did you ever see the one where the guy is completely naked? When he comes, he walks in completely nude, and then Chris comes in and hands him a towel.
What is going on here?
Wait, Shade Chaser says Chris Hansen is still doing it? Where is he still doing it? Where is he still
He has a YouTube. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he tried to relaunch it as a YouTube show, like an online show. It's called Hansen versus Predators. And you know, I've watched a few
Really?
episodes. Yeah, it's called Hansen versus Predators.
Is he like confronting them in person, just like
Same
the
thing.
show?
Exactly. He just basically recreated that
What?
on his own dime, though. So he's not under NBC. Is on his own
How
dime.
did I not know this?
He fundraised. He crowd raised for that, and he got enough
Shut-
funding to get it. Yeah, it's called Hansen versus Predator. Look it
I
up. It's on
gotta
YouTube.
watch this. Oh my
Tell
God,
me-
I know
hey,
what I'm doing
text
for
me
the rest
later.
of the day.
Text me later if when you watch it. It's called Hansen versus Predator. You will
Writing
spend
that
all day
down,
watching
too.
it. It's amazing. Hansen versus Predator.
All right, I'm doing it. Okay.
Same thing. Same guys. Same guys.
All right, here we go. Let's watch this. This is Carolyn Stone, the one who manipulated me, by the way. She made me
One
like
of the things that we have to always factor in as educators is the fact that we are in a setting where parents are made to relinquish custody and control of their children. Now think about that. There is no other setting or no other time when a parent is made to give up control of their child. We also have to factor in the fact that it matters where you live, folks. It does, doesn't it? I'm in Florida.
awkward laughing.
It matters that I'm in Florida. It matters that 2 school counselors right now in Florida have had lawsuits filed against them because they did not alert parents when the child told them about their need to transition. So it matters where you are. Some states, you're not in dealing with these issues quite the way others of us are. So it's not, ethics are not a one size fits all, as you know. Ethics are situational. You have to apply them where you live. I can't behave in Florida the way a New York City councilor can behave.
God, I want to live in Florida. Alvin.
Now, what did
why
it tell
can't
you?
I live in Florida?
What did it tell you? The bill is not necessary. What DeSantis passed is not necessary. She just told you there, it absolutely matters.
It absolutely matters.
And she just said
she admitted I cannot behave the way in Florida.
This is not some crazy, well, she's a crazy lady, but this is not some crazy lady screaming in the street corner. She's the head of the ethics committee for the American School Counselor Association, who has a chapter in all 50 states, who governs all the school counselors in all K through 12. And she told you ethics are situational. So when your state passes bills like 117, it allows the foot soldiers that she trains to be able to play loose with ethics and separate you from your children. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, ethics upon the horizon just mentioned in the Rumble chat. Ethics are situational? ? Like, yeah, how does that work? How does that work exactly? That ethics are they're situational depending on what state you're in. I mean, doesn't that decry the very definition of ethics in the first place?
Ethics are no matter where you are, right? Or it's always the same, no matter what the law says it is or isn't. But that's what she's saying, is that states that pass parental rights law, we are now more limited versus states that not.
This is why we need parental rights laws in every state in this country. And this is why also Florida is a great place to go. If you got to get out and go somewhere, go to Florida.
Even Florida is weak on that. Only K through 3. It's got to be
K through 12. It should be the entire way.
And they're so fighting. Now, I would say that what DeSantis did that was smart. He made it put it at 3 to let them fight. And you're like, wow, third grade is still too much for you. So it kind of exposed them. So when they cut it at 3rd grade, it kind of let the child mutilation advocates show their ass.
Yeah.
Because now they're fighting, and you're like, 3rd grade is too old for you. What? That's too late. You can't wait till 4th grade. And so that was the point, right? But the thing is, you can see that someone like Caroline Stone, who is the queen for these people, she's saying, depending on the state, you can't behave a certain way. So those parental right laws absolutely matter. And so
it absolutely matters. The Rumble chat is encouraging me to get the hell out of New York. And listen, here's the thing. I'm sure I will eventually get out of New York. I can't right now because this is where my husband works, and that's just the end of that. When we retire, we'll probably leave. But here's the sad part. I don't want to leave. This place is gorgeous. I love New York way more than I. Oh yeah, I'm way outside of New York City. But New York is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in this country. It is gorgeous here. It is absolutely. You cannot find better outdoor activities and, water sports and skiing, and every season is so perfect here. And I got to tell you, it makes me sad that these people run us out of here, because this is God's country, and it pisses me off. All the people who will then be stuck. I mean, look, I talked to Mike Harlow yesterday. He lives in New York City, and he's stuck in New York, and he's funding a documentary. He's crowdsourcing a documentary right now about how to get out of New York, how to leave a blue state. And you guys should go follow him on Twitter, by the way, at not Mike Harlow. And he is doing, and watch my stream from yesterday, because he's really, I think it's going to be very helpful for people. And he needs help getting out of New York. But a lot of people are stuck, and there's something that we can do about it. And so knowing, though, that there are things you can do. Like, I have pretty much protected my kids from this crap. I really have. There is nothing that I haven't been able to opt out of. But you have to be on top of it. Yeah, you got to be on top of it.
And it's not a blue or red state. Look, take it from me. I left California, Indiana. You're still facing the same thing. It's just on a different intensity, but they're still on the same track. By the way, before I go, I want to share one more thing with and this is something that I'm going to put out once I'm back on Twitter, but I want to share it with you and your followers. This is a teaser to our next tool.
Cool. And
Paul,
by the way, Germs is an idiot says this guy is one of my favorite guests. He's one of my favorite guests too. Alvin Lui
thank
of
you.
Courage is a Habit is a
That's great.
terrific person to know. And
Thank
he
you.
courageisahabit.org has terrific tools for parents who are fighting this stuff. And you guys need to go check it out.
That is so very nice of you. Thank you for saying that. I
It's
appreciate
true.
that. Let me give you guys a teaser to what we call, wait for it, the Safety and Inclusion Express.
Oh God, what's this?
Here is your printable thing that you can take to school boards. And when we're back on Twitter, we will share the full guide. But Megan, if you don't mind, share this
All
with
right.
your users. This is a printable guide on how they move your children from the ticket to the transgender express.
All
the
right.
transgender
Here we
train.
go. Let's see. I gotta zoom in. Hold on. Whoa, that was way too fast.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Move.
There you go.
What is going on with my screen? Oh, wait, I got to
There
do
you
it
go.
with the clicking. I have to do the clicking.
There
All
you
right,
go.
there we go.
All right. So the ticket, the reason why they push pronouns on your children so damn hard is because the pronouns is the first step in the medical transition. Okay. So pronouns are your ticket. If you scroll up a little bit, we'll show you the
Oh,
ticket.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The
yeah, I see
pronouns
it.
is the ticket to the transgender runaway train. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Once they get you on the pronouns, once they get the child on the pronouns, they start to be able to do things like, if you don't agree, you're unsafe. The home is abusive. We're the safe place. So the reason why they wear the tags, they ask your child the climate surveys, pronouns. Why are they pushing that so hard? Because pronouns is the first step to the medical transition. It isn't the breast binders. That's your ticket to the train. Once you get it on the train, your parental rights will get smaller and smaller. So they get your child the pronouns. The first stop to that station is breast binders, penis tucking, transition closets. Station 2 is your puberty blockers and your cross-sex hormones.
Oh, jeez.
And you'll notice that every station that your child stops at, your parental rights get smaller and smaller.
Yep. Look at that. And then the fourth one down here is
the third station.
the third one.
The
Sorry,
third
let's
station
see. Let's back up a
will
little
be
bit.
the third station will be the mutilation surgeries and double and at that point your parental rights are gone. So this is the little teaser that we have. We have a full guide coming that explains each station, that explains how they get them on the pronouns, and so we'll be releasing that just in a couple of days.
Pronouns are not harmless, you guys.
No, they're not.
It is not harmless.
That's
Social
the ticket.
transitioning is not harmless at all.
That's the ticket. That's a stamp. So if you agree to this, you're stamping your child's ticket to that train. Once they get on that train, if you agree with it and you drive them to the clinic, you get to be on the train. If you're not, you're outside the train and your child's gone on that train and you can't stop it.
Good
so
Lord.
We really want to release this guide. We've got 3 guides coming. We've got 3 tools, brand new tools coming before the end of the year. And
that's awesome.
It will make child mutilation advocates very mad. I promise you.
All right, before you go, we have a contest to win. We've got people.
Yes.
All right, are you ready?
Please. Yes.
All right. I'm choosing this.
You're choosing this. You're choosing.
All right. All right. So this is for a copy of Shut Up, the bizarre war that one public library waged against the First Amendment, or Believe Evidence, the death of due process. You get to choose, and Alvin's going to send it to you. So you've got this one, or you've got this one, and you can get Believe Evidence signed. Okay. All right. Here it is.
Believe Evidence signed, or the other one that's not
signed. The other one, I can get you a sticker. Yeah. All right, let's see. My pronoun is she, it. Right under the gun came in another super chat. My pronoun is she, it. All right. I am going to say, let's see, there was the Ellie Fant had that very funny furry training one. That was funny. That made me laugh. Chiminator did the pregnant Barbies joke. We had somebody else. Let's see. Somebody else said that psychologists were psychopaths with degrees. That was also very funny. Yes. Tina's divorce. Very funny.
Divorce was pretty funny.
The $5 divorce was pretty funny.
Yes.
The shrink joke, also very funny. And Eric, where's Chris Hansen when you need him?
All right.
I know.
Have a seat.
All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
It's going to be tough.
I can't. Tough.
I'm having a hard time making up my mind. So here's
Okay.
what I'm going to do. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to give first prize to Eric. Eric, are you still here? If you're still here, the Chris Hansen joke gets it for me because that one was hilarious and I'm going with it. So you're going to send there he is. Eric, you're
So,
still here,
Chris-
I think.
Perfect.
Eric I.
Okay, so Chris, is it Eric? Eric,
It's Eric.
send an email to team@courageisahabit.org.
All right, I'm going to write that down.
So I'll put it in the,
team@courageisahabit.org.
Yep, team, no S, just team@courageisahabit.org. Okay.
Okay.
And if you want to drop an email, team@courageisahabit.org. I said, hi, I'm Eric. I won the book. Pick the book. Give me your address, and we will get that book out to you right away.
All right.
Congratulations.
And I'm giving Ellie Fant a book as well. Now, Ellie, I can send you a signed copy of Believe Evidence. I would send you Shut Up if I had it, but I don't. So I'll send you Believe Evidence. So Ellie, you have my email address. I know you do. So you just send me your address and I'll get that out to you. Okay. But I will sign it and I will send it to you. So you guys are great. Thank you for playing.
Very nice of you to do that. The second prize there. Hey, this was fun. Thanks for letting me do this. This was awesome.
It was a great time.
We cover a lot. A lot of tools.
I know. P-Dog, you just got here. Well, you're late. Maybe you can. Maybe we'll do another one in
we'll
the
do another one.
second.
No, we'll do another one. We'll do next time I'm on. We'll do another contest. This was you know what? Megan and I didn't talk about this. We literally came up with this on the cuff.
We did. We just came up with it, which is great because it's helped out a lot today. Alvin, thank you so much for being here. You and I are going to talk again soon,
Yes.
and we will have you back soon. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All righty, you guys. All right, good news. Joe woke up, I think. So he is definitely here. And I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back from that break, Joe Nierman from Good Lawgic is going to be here. And we have stuff to do. We've got stuff to talk about. It's going to be a good time. And I am going to just take a couple minute break here. And because I've been on for a while. So I need to go refill my coffee. In the meantime, I'm going to share with you advice from my father. This is good advice from my father that you guys, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but it's something that, my dad really wanted to tell me the other day. And I decided to put it together in a fun little clip for you guys. So you enjoy while I take a break. I'll be right back. Tell me all about what I'm doing wrong.
You can't be talking about your hair.
Mischievous. I miss your curly hair. So of course, for the rest of the day, it's just going to be people fighting between the straight hair and the curly hair. I can feel it.
You can't be talking about your hair.
Len says I need smaller glasses with my hair straight. Okay, look.
Well, you gotta get controversial.
With me today is the lovely and wonderful Megan Fox. Not that one.
Not that one.
Was he queer or what?
Well, I'm medium good looking,
You're medium attractive.
I can live with that.
You can't be talking about your hair.
And I really like your hair like this. I really do. It's fantastic.
Is he queer?
It's pretty blonde.
It's pretty blonde.
It's very blonde. It's a different style. I mean, I kind of noticed the color, but it's mostly just the styling that,
just because it's straight.
Is he queer?
What?
You can't be talking about your hair.
Yeah.
I have wavy hair naturally, so I don't straighten it very often, but it's a whole thing.
You can't be talking about your hair.
That's okay. I just don't even have hair back there.
You can't be talking about your hair.
It's all just a front.
Is he queer?
What? It's the weirdest bald spot ever.
You can't be talking about your hair.
Tim has a full head of hair under that beanie, Megan.
Is he queer?
No! This is terrible.
Is he queer?
Okay, that's enough of that.
Is he queer?
Nick's gay lover says rate Nick's female guests. Okay, that's enough of that.
And they get it.
And this is the base color that covers up the grays. And then I get my highlights put in after that.
You can't be talking about your hair.
Okay, Tech News says you should go blonde.
What?
I had to get my grays covered up. I don't like my hair dark like this.
This is terrible.
Then they get it.
I identify as a blonde. I was born as a blonde. I will probably never be this blonde again, though.
That's pretty blonde.
It's pretty blonde.
It's very blonde.
This color is so much maintenance. They're probably a little lighter than this naturally. But
You have no chance.
it's hard to get the right color. When I go all gray, I will totally be able to go back to that color.
You have to get to your subject a little sooner.
Yeah, a little sooner. I lasted for 10 minutes. I had to get up and pee. I couldn't even wait for the rest of it.
Right now, I just have gray around the edges. Like, there's not a whole lot of it anywhere else. So I would still have to use bleach, which is so damaging. I make these weird faces like I'm in pain when I squish my hair, and I don't know why I do that.
You have no chance.
But I tried stopping it, but it's almost like the mascara face. It can't be stopped.
This is the kind of stuff you should have on YouTube.
I will be doing this for an hour. And
Yes, I said it's enough. I don't care about her hair.
it will be like a good hour. Like, I'll be planning my day and figuring out what am I going to write today.
What a lot of crap.
But I want to talk about Carrie's hair.
Yes, I said it's enough. I don't care about her hair.
And as a curly girl myself, we don't have very many curly girls out there who are, kicking it for the girls with waves and curls.
You can't be talking about your hair.
When you slick it back like that, you destroy the curl.
What a lot of crap.
This is Carrie Bradshaw. This is what her hair looks like. Do you remember how iconic and beautiful and glamorous this was? It doesn't make sense for Carrie, the character, in any way.
What a lot of crap.
I mean, the costume department is absolutely insane.
You have no chance.
Who is this? This is some of the worst styling I've ever seen on any show, let alone a show that I know and love so well.
Yes, I said it's enough. I don't care about her hair.
I feel like I'm witnessing a murder. What is this? Look at this. I hate this so much.
What a lot of crap.
I actually found some old photos of me in New York City doing exactly that. The fashion influenced everyone and everything.
Oh my God, did you hear Megan last night?
I wasn't actually drunk. I was just so excited that I ran into her at the bar at the W Hotel.
Well, you gotta get controversial.
I don't even remember his name.
Hello there.
The fact that everyone hates this show.
That's the name of the game. Oh my God, did you hear Megan last night?
It's going up.
Is he queer?
What?
I'm muted. I boomered it. Joe.
Yo.
He's here.
Yo. I know more about hair coloring than I ever wanted to know. I'm sitting here. I'm like writing furiously. It has to be completely gray before I can blonde it. Because like I'm thinking like, what do I, because I have the same problem. I got like I'm known for my two-tone. I'm like the inverse of Jack Murphy, who's got his. Because he's black in the middle and white on the outside.
Yes.
I'm gray in the middle and dark on the outside. So yeah, I think that makes me the real alpha male. Like because it's like I'm the exact opposite. I'm the exact opposite of him. But yeah, I appreciate that. I'm so glad you got coffee because I know so much more. I understand your dad on levels that I never thought I would know, and
I know
that clip together, everything that was just magnificent.
It's fantastic. Well, it was funny. So the other day he calls me up, and I hit the record button because we're on FaceTime, and I'm just like, this is epic. It's just epic dad moment. And he starts telling me all the things I'm doing wrong because apparently he is a YouTube mogul. He knows how this is done, and I am talking about my hair way too much. So then after he said that, I realized I'm like, I talk about my hair all the time, and I'm going to go find clips of me. And not only was I talking about it, Nick's talking about my hair. Like everyone's talking about my hair.
No, it's great. It's great. I didn't know you were a big Sex and the City fan either. That was like something I learned from this clip. I feel like I know you on so many different levels now that I'm telling you, like I was like, at first I was thinking to myself, You have a live audience and you're walking away for 5 minutes. Are you out of your mind? What the hell? And then I'm watching the clip and I'm like, oh, this is way better. Anything that she and I could do together. So you should instead of like the next 5 minutes, you should just run it again. Just run it again.
I tell you what, I've just realized though that if I can't walk away for a few minutes, like I can't do this.
Right.
You gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta get another drink. Like I can't, there's gotta be, sometimes I do.
And I don't have one of those. Nick has his bathroom song.
Yeah, his bathroom
he's
song.
running his bladder and everyone's having a good time while his, now he's coming down the stairs and he tripped on a skateboard and whatever, he's got like his, and he has his cool Irish kind of medley. He has the best outro. His outro.
Ever. That makes me cry.
Yes.
Literally makes me cry.
Yes.
How is it so good? I don't know.
I don't know who that freaking artist is. I'm
like, he's amazing.
My God, why do all my fans suck in comparison? This guy's an uber talent. I'm like,
so
I would commission him to write me an outro. Plus the fact that he's always drinking and it's an Irish drinking tune, type of sound. Everything about it.
Well, I'm sure you could
perfect.
commission that guy to write you one. I'm sure you could. I'm sure he's for
God.
sale. The music I found to use, I should shout out to NoFace Records because they make music for content creators that is absolutely free.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
That's where I found the music that I've been using to make my clips and stuff. And I don't have an editor, so I have to just sit and do this myself. And it takes forever, but it is a fun project. And I think that it was well worth it because it is cracking me up. So my dad is so funny. So he thinks that I love it when he criticizes me because the criticism that dads give is just so fantastic. I think what I might do is next time I have a phone call with him, I'm going to ask him to give me more of it. Like I need more criticism. What else am I doing wrong, Dad? Just tell me all about it.
My dad does it too. My dad,
does he?
Oh yeah. I mean, like what's funny is like I haven't spoken to him very much like over the last 4 months at all, and he's been on my show several times because he's a rabbi and he looks like an old Jewish rabbi, but he knows he has a doctorate in medieval Christian Muslim Christian relations from the Middle Ages.
How interesting. What?
Yeah, so he understands more about the way Muslims think than most Muslims do, and that's why he's talking about different strategies for how to deal with them effectively, without going to war with them all the time, and how to actually understand their nature and where they're coming from. And at the same time, not be forced and not put yourself in a position where you're warring or that you're, submitting, but actually attaining mutual respect. And he's the one who actually, walked me through and taught me everything that I understand about the Middle East. So I've had him on several times when the Middle East was a hot topic. I haven't had him on in a while because he's been in Israel for 4 out of the last 5 months. And I haven't spoken to him very much because he's been in Israel. And last week, I talked to him for 45 minutes for the first time in 5 months. And he's killing me about my language. Killing me. And it's like, and you know what?
My mother doesn't like it either. My sister hates it.
I don't curse.
She says I swear too much. I know you don't. You don't. I don't really hear you curse.
I don't curse.
So what language is he talking about?
He was mad at me for the word schmuck.
No, come on.
He's like, I was so bothered when I saw that yesterday. And I'm like,
oh no.
It's like I moved down to that. I didn't know how to tell him that. I was like, before that, I was like a dick. I was like, oh my gosh, really? Really? I'm trying so hard here. I'm trying so hard. I'm already handicapped in the fact that I don't curse because it's so much easier to lace in a rant. You know how hard it is to be known for your ranting and never use any expletives?
True.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an easy thing to accomplish. You need to get very, very creative can really go outside the box sometimes.
It's true.
And now I can't even use schmuck.
Well, maybe he'll get over
He's like,
it.
do you know what it means? I was like, yeah. And then he starts explaining it to me.
Oh, of course.
And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you for the biology lesson, Dad. I knew what it meant. It's just people don't use it that way. They just mean it to say jerk. It's I was trying to justify.
Yeah, they definitely don't use it to mean what it means. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, he was not having it. He was not having it. And I'm not kidding, because Lady Lawgic really keeps me in check on that sort of thing. She
How
gets
long
like
have you been married?
26 years.
Oh, you got me beat by a couple. I've
You
been
got, if you want to, it's funny. Someone clipped, Divinity said she does like clips from like YouTube.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You could share with your audience. She's so great. I love her work, Divinity. She clipped 3 minutes, like a 3-minute video, which I'm gonna use this probably as my bathroom break thing, which is like me on stream, just sort of haggling with Lady Lawgic. So she updated, she uploaded yesterday. I think it's called the FOMO, or I don't really know what that means, but it's a fun watch. It's a fun watch, because I was like sitting there, I was laughing because I was like, this is every discussion I've ever had with her. Right here, the entire world is seeing every time I've had a discussion with Lady Lawgic, because both of us were doing what we normally do, where she's basically looking at me like trying to think like how much she disapproves or dislikes what I'm doing, and I'm sitting there justifying and saying like, no, this is all for the benefit, and you need to understand that, and like it was real. It's
Here, wait, I found it. Here, can I play it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would credit Divinity instead, but yeah, definitely I would play the whole thing. It's a 3-minute video. It's not a long video.
Fun. All right, let's see. Oh wait, I have to actually put it on the screen. Dang it!
Yeah.
I keep doing this because I
Make sure
reset
to
it.
add audio when you do it also.
I reset my the settings so that it doesn't pop up right away, because that always messes with me too, and then I forget that it doesn't pop up right away. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so also make it full screen. Hit the little full screen there, and look at you. That's perfect. There you go. I gotta cover after Lady Lawgic falls asleep.
Wait, what?
What? There's some stories I'm like, this is better if she falls asleep before I get to this one.
What?
It makes sense.
Why?
What? Because otherwise you sit there just like burning inside, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you showed this, or you talked about this, or whatever. And this way, it's like no one. It's like something that happened at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're never gonna see. You're never gonna care. No one's gonna see. No one you know is ever gonna see. And it happens at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. No one cares. No one cares. So like I'm like, you know what? If I cover a story that's like a little bit like, something I wouldn't bring up. It's true. It's like I'm doing her a favor. Like no one cares at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I do it at 11
It's
o'clock,
true. Anything I
night,
can't
while
say
you're
in
sitting
school,
here
she doesn't want me to
watching,
talk
you get
about.
all like your stomach starts wrenching, not only because of like the whole shit up thing. That's the only reason. Like
The whole shit up thing.
bothers you.
Yeah, no one knows what I was talking
I'm
about
just
there.
saying. I'm just saying.
You better come up with other stuff, because I'm not going to sleep.
I got lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I got lots of stuff.
Hear the story.
I was like so embarrassed at this point.
You can always go back and watch.
I know you can. What I'm saying is, if you go back and watch it later on, and then you're like, it was after like 2:30 in the morning, no one cares. Like it's less something that's going to bother you than if it's something that while it's happening, while it's unfolding.
It's so true. If it's while it's there, she's like, is it going to go on for an hour now? Am I going like?
Is she always right next to you?
That's
when
what I
you're
do. Also, I
streaming?
always do that afterwards. I'm like,
Is she always right next to you when you're streaming?
No,
Why is she so
no, like,
close?
because I'm in my bedroom. It's like, and she's like, she's laying in
you
bed.
stream from your bedroom?
Yeah, I stream from my own bedroom. I
my
used to stream from my attic, and I was like, you know what? I want to just fall into bed like right afterwards, and she doesn't care. She prefers it. She prefers like just like listening to me.
Oh my gosh, my husband would hate that so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he
But-
would hate it so much.
But this is when she starts ranking on me at this point, and I was just like, I'm like, what the heck? You can see my frustration. It's like I just want to do a good show. I just
Look
and
at
I'm
your
like-
face.
and I'm
I love this pause. This pause is so good.
You can see into my soul. You can see into my. Everyone knows what I'm thinking and feeling. I just want to do a good show.
Does this happen every time I go to sleep? I'm just wondering if the chat all of a sudden gets interesting.
It doesn't get nothing.
These interesting stories. I have to go back now and listen to all these other streams that you did.
This.
Wow.
I couldn't believe what
I'm
she
wondering
says.
why there's like 723 people listening to you.
And you're like,
Garbage. It's because all the interesting stories are like, when is she going to sleep?
So what you're basically saying is you're really boring right now, but the cool stuff happens when you go to sleep. That's what she is saying. No, apparently that's what you basically just said. I have no idea why anyone will be watching this garbage right now, that you actually have hundreds of people who are here. But apparently, and that the show really juices when the snoring begins. No, that's not. There's never snoring. There's never been snoring. Can you see the screen from there? Yeah. So now I'm about to show her. Talk about this.
I could never sleep. I could never sleep off stream because I do snore. That would be really, really embarrassing.
It's like, so what is it that I was, the big thing that I was going to show was basically, I don't know if you know Elon Musk, he's been trolling. So the day after he allowed Trump back on, so he posted a cartoon picture of like a priest. Like
I saw that.
And the whore with her skirt up, and like over her derriere is the Twitter logo. And I was like, this is not something I would like open up in shul. Like if people from my synagogue, I wouldn't want them seeing me like that. This is what I'm pulling up and I'm sharing with thousands of people. So it's like, I want to cover this story. I know that when I pull that image up, she's going to be flinching inside. So I'm like, so I'm like, you know what? If she falls asleep, no one from my synagogue is going to be watching me at 3 o'clock in the morning. No one's passing judgment on me at that point in time. And it's like, and I can talk about a story, which is an interesting topical story, because the comments underneath it were just amazingly funny. And I don't care about the lewdness of the picture, but I sort of got to get past that to sort of set the stage for everything that's coming afterwards. So it's like I sort of skimmed through it like really quickly, but I was like, here's the image. This is what we've been fighting about for 5 minutes. Are you feeling better now? Like, trust me that I'm just trying to do right by us and our family, and I'm not trying to embarrass you.
Trying not to embarrass you.
Yes.
Well, now I have to hear her reaction to it. Does she react to it?
Oh yeah, like the sittering.
Just like maybe like in like a couple hours about Elon Musk tweeting that out. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. There you go. There you go. It was a beautiful moment, I thought. I was like, this is every discussion I've ever had with her. So the exhale.
We did it, Joe.
You're still awake. You're still awake.
Go for it.
I could show in front of my husband, never, ever. I would be too self-conscious. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I hate it when sometimes my daughter's in the room. If she's at home, because we share this room. This is my office bedroom. And so sometimes she's in here, but normally she puts her headphones on. So if she's got her headphones on, I'm like, oh, okay, I can say whatever because she doesn't hear me. But yeah, that would be tough, man. Marriage is funny though. We all have these same arguments over and over and over again, don't we?
Yeah, and it's not. I love my wife. She's amazing. She's amazing, and she really is looking out for the best interests of our family. That's what's motivating her. It's not a matter of trying to control. It's a matter of in the circles that we engage in, because I'm an Orthodox Jew, and not just an Orthodox Jew. There's a lot of different variants on Orthodox Jews. So we run in circles that are called yeshivish. This is not like a modern Orthodox Jew, and there's a very big difference, because to a modern Orthodox Jew, they're practicing Jew, and and they eat kosher and they observe Sabbath, and they're great people and great Jews, and it's just a different style as to like the approach to Judaism. And in the circles that I'm in, just that sort of image is completely verboten. Like you should just be staying away from anything like that. And if you ever do come across it, to be sharing it with thousands of people will look at you like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like
What's wrong?
That's what they would say. Like, why would you possibly, if you happen to stumble on, they're like, first you shouldn't, in my circles, for example, they'd be like, you shouldn't be surfing the internet, much less on the internet,
Oh,
much less
strict.
providing like imagery that's fairly lewd to thousands of Jews and Gentiles, as opposed to in modern Orthodox circles. If I came from modern Orthodox circles and people in my community found out what I did, I would be like legendary. They'd be like, that's the Jewish dude who's got 88,000 subs. I would be considered legendary. Whereas in my circles, which is like yeshivish, It's like some think it's cool and others are like,
Yeah. Well, I grew up kind of similar, which is interesting. I grew up in the United Pentecostal Church, and they're very fundamentalist.
yeah,
Women have to like they look like Mormons. I mean, the women wear very long skirts. We couldn't even wear short sleeves. We had to wear 3/4 length sleeves. Um, no pants. No makeup, long hair, cannot cut your hair.
yeah.
They always wear their hair up in like these, old Southern style. And it was very much like that, where a lot of what was required was very outward, signs of outward piety, right? Like
Yes.
we weren't allowed to have televisions, right? You couldn't watch television, couldn't go to the movies, couldn't dance, no dancing,
And
no.
I want to clarify. I want to clarify because I don't know. I'm not speaking. I just don't know when it comes to the church. But in our circles, what you're describing is exactly what the life that my community is. But the notion is not a matter of just displaying outward piety. It's that by embracing that the external, it's a recognition that if you don't protect your external, it starts to impact your internal. Part of the way that my community remains sheltered, where it's like someone asked me like, what would happen in my community if someone went trans? I was like, I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine such a situation happening. It's like, first of all, if such a thing happened, they would have left the community 10 years earlier because they would have been like, this life is not for me.
Yeah.
And we would hear like 10 years later, oh yeah, that person you remember who you used to be, that they went and cut their genitalia off. But there's no one in this community who is even around people who are talking about transitioning. So it's like, and that's intentional. It's a way of cloistering and self-ghettoizing in order to protect really our young and ourselves, even ourselves. Because you know what? If you're sitting there and you're sitting on the internet and you're seeing, imagery, it starts to affect you and starts to develop an appetite that you otherwise would not have. So in order to protect ourselves and from developing an appetite, so we just like sort of the general rule is just stay away as much as possible.
Yeah,
You have to go.
Cavatino, that's absolutely right. I did live in the movie Footloose. That's true.
Yes. And I that's what I was. This guy Cavatino, what he says. That's what we all were picturing when you were saying that. And I was thinking, I couldn't really fairly use enough terms to explain why my community is any different than that as far as how we appear. But it doesn't feel restricted, even though it is. It's hard to explain. It's a matter of just making choices. We're not going to do this. And once
Look,
you do that, everything,
I have a great respect for anyone who chooses to live however, in whatever way they want, especially in religious groups. I mean, for instance, I thought it was interesting that you brought up your dad, and I didn't know that about your dad, and his background, which is really interesting to me because recently, I got in contact with those Muslim Dearborn dads, the Muslims in Dearborn who stood up at that board meeting and gave the board members hell for putting pornography books in the library for their children, like really just the books I'm talking about. Have you seen this guy?
Shame on you.
You've
No,
seen him?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Joe.
Who is that?
His name is Hassan Shami, and he is one of the dads in Dearborn who's just he's had enough, and he has gone all over the place. He's been on Newsmax. He's been on this show. He's been on Fox. I mean, they're talking because he said, "Don't vote for Democrats anymore. Like these people are not for us. They hate they hate our religion. They hate our morals. They hate our beliefs, and we can't separate our religion from politics because they're coming after us. Like they're coming after our kids now." And when I say, "Are you familiar with these books, Joe?" I'm talking about this now. I talking about not wanting to put something in front of your eyes that you can't unsee. I'm going to give you the censored version, but this is what we're talking about.
Right.
This is the book we're talking about. This is disgusting, and this is what's in the libraries, and this is what the left is pushing on children. And so these fathers in Dearborn stood up and said, absolutely not. We will not have any of this, and you will stop it. And what was kind of amazing about it, what was really wonderful about it, is that in the Muslim community, it is probably, and I don't know, maybe the Jewish community is like this too, like especially the Orthodox, but the men are out front and they lead that community. And it's not because if you notice across America in these, the board meetings that I cover, it's all these moms for liberty, conservative moms, outspoken moms, and love the moms. Okay, love you, ladies. I'm there with you. But when the men stand up in a big group and say, you will go this far and no further,
Right.
it's like all of a sudden it all changes. And that's what happened in Dearborn. Like they're on the run in Dearborn because 1,000 people.
Are they though? Are they really? Because
Oh no, they really are.
got a landslide win.
No, right. Okay, listen, here's the thing though. It's going to take some time. Okay, it's going to take some time to get rid of the machine they built there. But I think, and I've been talking to, so I've made these connections with some Muslim people who have been telling me, listen, Muslims voted with conservatives until 9/11. You had the Muslim vote until 9/11. And after that, Democrats took them because, they believed that, Democrats were for the immigrants and against Muslim hate and all the stuff that came up after that. But what they didn't realize was that these people are pushing morality on their children that is completely contrary to their belief system. And I have been feeling like I don't think I've ever related to Muslim people in this kind of way before, where I've actually had conversations and we sat down and talked, because I've had some fear myself after, 9/11 was a scary thing. And Islamic terror is a scary thing to me. It's a scary thing to a lot of people. And I think that made us very shut off to the possibility that, hey, you know what? Most of these people are, and I've taken a lot of flack for it too, because I've kind of turned around and said, you know what? I'll stand with anybody who wants to get this crap out of the schools. I will be with you 100%. You want to get this out of the school? I will help you. And having these conversations with them, I'm just very open to anybody, whatever this country is based on the First Amendment, freedom of religion, whatever your religion is, you can have it. Long as you don't want to, come on my lawn and tell me what to do, I'm fine. And I will help you defend it. Absolutely.
Yep.
I've been getting a lot of flack though from people who have a lot of pent up rage at Islam for whatever reasons. And
I mean, a lot of it's carryover because we were all raised in the post 9/11. I mean, most of the people you're talking to, I mean, we spent the last 20 years in a post 9/11 world where it's like, we're constantly we're Muslim and terrorist are, they're words that almost used interchangeably, and that's not appropriate.
Mm-mm.
And the thing is, and it's because when we hear about Muslims, you're not hearing about people in Libya. You're hearing about the Taliban. You're hearing about journalists being beheaded. You're hearing about the immigrants. You're hearing about whatever percentage of immigrants are harming people when they go to Europe and go into these different Swedish countries, and the next thing you know, they're forming these communities which we're hearing terrible crimes. So what comes front and center with them invariably is going to be that the reason I think that that people really have become so anti-Muslim also is there are a lot of Muslims, and the range of Muslims is so diverse as far as their religious affiliation. They're so diverse, and I would say 90% of them, maybe 97% of them, I don't know what the numbers are, but totally peace loving and could embrace all American values. But the 3%, they'll take it to an extreme of no, everyone else has to be subjugated and die, and it's our. And I can't be happy. I can't go to heaven unless I try to meet that end. And it might be as low as 0.03%. But when you're talking about a billion people, because there are a billion Muslims, you're talking about tens of millions of people. It's a lot of people. So it's like there's so many great ones,
and they get lumped together with the worst of them. They all
And what I
together,
learned
collectively,
about
get
Dearborn,
lumped together with the worst of them.
what I learned about Dearborn is that many of the people in Dearborn are born here, for one. They have businesses, they're business owners, they are entrepreneurs, they are they're perfectly peaceful people. They haven't
Yeah.
done anything to anybody like
And have no desire to change that. Right. I know.
right.
I know.
And you know, it's kind of great. And I'm actually very grateful to the left for opening this dialogue up and because I think I had been living with a lot of fear that was not necessary, you know, and I think that it's whatever brings people together is great. I want to show you a clip from this meeting since you haven't seen it, because this is epic, Joe. It's epic. It's absolutely epic, and it's tide turning. I'm telling you, it's tide turning. So this is Hassan Shami. He is a father of 3 kids. And he is now speaking out about the Democrats. And in this particular clip, he is confronting the board about how they allowed leftist agitators to come in and create problems with this crowd and try and get them bad press.
I ditched my speech because there's been so many wonderful brothers and sisters here that let their voices be heard. I want to speak directly to President Roxanne McDonald. President Roxanne, we know that if there's any issues here, somebody disturbing the peace, you need to ask the police to escort them out. That's why they did not escort the person here who was talking to the crowd for up to 2 minutes before you asked them to direct to the board. Shame on you, President Roxanne McDonald. Roxanne, we also need to tell you that you serve this community. And we know there are some media outlets here waiting to smear the Muslim community. And you allowed that to happen because you know there was going to be a reaction between this inflammatory remarks here and the people in the crowd because how sensitive this issue is. So shame on you.
And sure enough, the press got the headline they wanted.
To my fellow community members, I'm so proud to be a part of this community with you guys. But please understand that there are people planted here to create a reaction from you for the media. So be cautious, stay patient, and remain calm. And since there was a recent rant in the beginning for 3 minutes that mentioned the founding fathers in America, I also want to say that the founding fathers fought for freedom of religion. So on behalf of the Muslim community, I want to congratulate you on the birth anniversary of Prophet Muhammad, which is this week.
So what's interesting about what he said was that it made the media, they allowed this incident to happen where this guy was screaming at the crowd about how you hate gay people, you just hate gay people, and he was, you know, inciting this crowd to start screaming at him, and that allowed the media to say that this was a violent crowd, and it was, you know, and so it opened my eyes to the fact that the media has been doing this to Muslims in America too. It's like, oh, they're not just lying about us, they're lying about them too. How long have they been doing that?
Forever.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Long before you and I were walking the earth, and long after we finish.
This is never going to stop. Wait, Hassan's a really good guy, family guy, pharmacist, owns a couple businesses, has a restaurant. Like I've been getting to know him a bit, and I just absolutely.
I'd love to have him on.
Oh, he's fantastic. I'd
love
love to connect you.
Yeah, please do. Please do. I'd love to have that guy on. Anyone who could be like based, and yeah, I don't care.
He's speaking out
if he's
against
a Muslim. I don't care. I
Rashida
don't care what he
Tlaib.
is.
He's speaking out against Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. And here's the thing. Here's why it's going to take so long. We watched Project Veritas's hidden videos in Dearborn, right? It was Dearborn, where they were doing ballot harvesting, where they were literally filling out the ballots, knocking on doors and being like, here, sign this.
And here's
sign
$50.
Sign this. Here's $50.
$50.
And that's why they've got it down to a science there. So they're going to have to overcome not just like the blind voting for Democrats, and it's going to be a slower process. I would say that by 2024, though, I have very big hope that the Muslim community in this whole country is going to be voting for Republicans, because I was told whatever Dearborn does, that's what the rest of the country does. Where Dearborn goes, the rest of the Muslim community is paying attention across this United States, and they are following. So they are all connected. They're connected through Facebook groups. They're connected through WhatsApp, and they are communicating about this book issue and the SEL and the radical programming in schools, which we just had Alvin Lui on the program talking about the CRT and the social emotional learning and all this nonsense. And so we've got a real set of new allies in this fight that I can't wait to, I think that we should all be embracing. And
Amen.
I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, you want Sharia in this country? Like, what are you talking about? These guys don't want Sharia. They just want to be left alone. They want their kids to be left alone. They want to live their lives. They want to worship the way they want to worship. And that's all I want. I'm sure that's all you want.
Obviously. Now, I mean, and I've heard different takes on this. If you have concerns about Sharia law being voted in America, you have to look at the numbers and realize that you're talking about like 2% of the country are Muslim. I mean, what percent? What are the numbers? I am curious now. What percent of the country?
I don't know. It can't be that high. And also, Sharia is not legal here, so it's not like I have not seen this happening anywhere. And when someone was attacking me in the Nick's Locals chat yesterday and sent me this article about a genital mutilation case, and it's like, well, wait a minute. That's not legal here. Well, unless you want to turn your kid into a tranny, then it is legal. But if
that's not what they're doing.
If it's religious based, you are not allowed to do that. And so, that's not Sharia. It's someone breaking the law. It's different.
Right.
That's
right.
So no, it doesn't make sense. Hey guys on Rumble, make sure you hit that plus button. I see a bunch of you are new here to the stream. Thank you, Joe, for bringing in the audience. And make sure you hit that plus button because that's important. We need to get this thing trending. Let's get it up on the front page. I know you can do it.
Indeed.
I was told, by the way, Joe, I was told that I need to get lessons from you on how to grift because apparently I'm very bad at it.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm like the worst person to give lessons. I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, what I've told everyone always is that, like, I literally study. I don't. It's not like I went to like classes. He doesn't offer lectures, but I literally try to study what works. And the king of it is obviously Nick. So like I'll sit there and I'll try to figure out, okay, because I've been doing this long enough that I've tried so many different things. I've tried going through legal cases. I've tried 2 hours of sarcasm. When I first was doing this, I created a character called Joe Woke, where basically I spent the entire time doing my show in reverse, as if like, I was like the most woke person.
That's
ever.
Funny. Joe Woke.
And it was funny. I actually started Woke Wednesdays, where it's like I would come out as Joe Woke. And the first time I did it, it was like a big hit. And the second time, I was like an hour and a quarter into it, and the wife comes in and she's like, "Oh, you have to stop because I really hate you now." Like it's like I did it too well. Like I was just like, I was like,
you're turning off your audience.
Yeah, I was like literally like turning off my audience by like this whole BS narrative that I was throwing at them. They're like, what are you talking about here? It's the only way society will ever be happy is if everyone is forced to try being gay for like a year, and then we'll and like just going on and on, like really trying to make a compelling argument for it until everyone's like, all right, just stop it. Just stop, cut it out. Like people are like leaving my chat. They're like, this guy's an insane lunatic, and yeah. So but my point is I've tried experimenting with so many different things that I start to get a little bit of a feel of like what is good content, what's bad content. One of the tricks I learned is sometimes I'll be covering a story and I'll be like, I'll just not feeling the story like landing, and just to be able to adjust. And like as soon as you like to always be like mindful of like reading my chat and seeing, are they into this, are they not into it, and if they're not into it, having sufficient flexibility to just change up and find something else, because the whole point here is that they're supposed to be enjoying it. If it's not entertaining for them,
true.
And it's not,
Rush Limbaugh used to call that was the stack of stuff. He would have a stack of stuff that was so big for every show that he did. He had 3 hours every day, and the stack of stuff would be probably 6 hours worth of content. And he probably, I'm sure, did that on a regular basis, just changed it up, if the calls weren't coming in properly.
Right.
But yeah, that's true. I mean, content is what it's about, I'm sure.
So I'll give you an example with learning from Nick. Okay, I had a guy come to me. Sometimes people come to me and say, "Hey, can you put this person on your show, whatever?" And especially if it's something like I'm not really into that particular story or whatever that this person's related to or that topic, but it seems like it's a good cause. So I'll basically say to them, look, it's really not my thing, this story, but I can pass it on to Nick, and I'll get the person far greater exposure than if they come on my show. And they're like, wow, can you do that? That'd be great. And I'll pass it on to Nick. And so I passed this guy on to Nick, about what the story was about. And he asked me one question about this potential interview guest that he would bring on. He goes, is he funny? Now, I guess this was like about someone being forced into being trans or whatever. He's like, that's what he cares about. Is he funny? I just looked at that text back from him. I give him this whole, pitch about how, this is, really meaningful and powerful and important. And his question to me was, is he funny? And I'm like, why is he asking me that question? It's such a crazy question. And I'm sitting there, I was like, you know what? He's right. What we're doing is entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. And we have to remember that. We have to remember that. And I literally took from that a lesson that he didn't even mean to pass on to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, every story I'm covering, sometimes once in a while I'll do a story, 15, 20 minutes, a half hour, that's important. But I can't have 3 of those in a show because people just get exhausted and they don't want to watch it.
Oh, tell me about it. You know how long I covered family court issues, and it was like I had to quit. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's too emotionally draining, and like no one wants to tune in to hear a nightmare. Like literally no one. I mean, every once in a while, sure, but I think it has to be packaged in a way that
Yes.
is not overwhelming. I mean, there's something to be said. I mean, for instance, I am a huge true crime fan. That's all I watch. When I watch documentaries constantly. In fact, my husband comes into the bedroom last night. He's on his way to bed. He's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "The usual murder story." He's like, "Oh God, you're something wrong with you." Like, it's just, for one, I'm a journalist. I love to see documentaries presented in a way that, that gets my curiosity going and makes me think as I'm going through it. Oh, here's what I would do. I would call this investigator. I would do that.
Yes.
Like, I want to see like
Yes.
where do they go with this? And like, I want to make a documentary someday. Like, I want to do that. I want to. I've worked on them before. I've worked on for writing and stuff, and I want to do that. And that's something that I'm interested in. But for me, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I can watch that, because the content is so dark. It's so dark.
That's what I'm saying. Megan,
It
you
is,
happen
it's
to
so
have
dark. Something wrong with me.
you have phenomenal personality, though. That's what I'm saying. That most people, I can't just sort of like just jump back and forth 5 minutes after meeting them. It takes 45 minutes of feeling them out. Where's their sweet spot and stuff like that. And what I'm saying is you're able to gel with people really quickly, and the audience reacts to you. And I really think you need to lean into that a lot more. That's the one constructive criticism I would give you. And not that it's not that I'm sitting here watching dozens of hours of your content, but I'm saying every opportunity you have to lean into your humor, because most women, no offense to any women out there, most women are not funny.
No, they're not
Okay?
very funny.
They're really not. Most female comedians, I cannot remember watching a female comedian and laughing out loud, like, ever in my life.
Oh, I can. Who I liked, and I hate even saying this out loud because she's so unlikable, but Ellen was very funny. Her stand-up was very good, I thought. I found Ellen very funny a long
She
time
never did
ago.
it for me. She never did.
When
She never did it for me. I'm telling you.
Before she was the big thing that she was, I
Right.
found her humor hilarious. I don't know if it's
Okay.
just me,
Okay.
but no, you're
No,
right.
it wasn't just you. It wasn't just you. Of
General,
course, it was millions of people.
in general,
So
women are not very funny. In fact, the worst. And although I'll tell you what, I sometimes think she gets bad criticism that she doesn't deserve. It was the one that was super woke on Netflix. Nanette. What was her name? Nanette something. Oh God, now I'm gonna screw it up. But you guys know she gets made fun of as the one who's not funny at all. She did a one-woman show on Netflix that everybody raved about that was so good. But basically it was just her story of coming out and how hard that was and how difficult and then she would throw in jokes every once in a while, which were pretty funny. It
Right.
wasn't stand-up though. Like what to me, I thought they graded it wrong. It was like, well, yeah, I wouldn't grade this as a stand-up. I guess that's how they call her. They call her a stand-up comedian. To me, it was a one-woman show. It was
Right.
something different than what you would normally consider a stand-up routine. I found much of it pretty moving, pretty good, pretty funny. But then again, I'm a woman, so what does my opinion on humor count?
No, but what I'm saying is, I find you genuinely to be funny. Like, I
Oh, that's
can,
sweet.
I actually, you're one of the few women that I actually say, like, wow, you know what, she's pretty funny. And that's what I'm saying. You need
Hannah
to lean
Gadsby.
into it.
Yes, Hannah Gadsby. That was it. Thank you. I get it
You're
from my
asking me to
dad.
come up with the name of a female comedian who's
I
woke.
know.
What part of
I
that
know.
sentence
I
do you
know.
think I
So
should ask
woke.
Joe Nierman this? This is what he's going to know. He's going to be my source right here. He's the guy.
I know. The humor thing is fun though, and to tell you the truth, that is one thing I have never been able to keep out of like my writing or anything else. To me, it's just not. I don't want to read it if it's not funny. One of my favorite writers is Ann Coulter. Anne
Yeah. Yeah.
and for when I was a kid, I used to read Anne my parents would get The Spectator, the actual magazine.
Mhm.
It came in the National Review. They came as the National Review was like a paper and you open it up and The Spectator was a magazine and those were what was in my house because my parents are very conservative. So I grew up reading Ann Coulter and man, did she make me laugh. She can make you laugh. That woman is funny.
Yeah.
She's mean, but she's funny, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like without that element, I don't want to read it. Like Peggy Noonan was somebody I loved reading. She's not funny, but she's a really wonderful writer, very poignant, great imagery. So I enjoy that too. But there's nothing better than reading a political analysis that makes you laugh.
But if you think about like what you were describing with Hannah Gadsby, she basically was doing like what we do on a show. It's like that's what
Right.
basically I'm doing. I'm telling a story, and every once in a while there's going to be something that I'm expecting the audience is going to laugh out loud at. But I'm basically telling over a story about something that is going to be interesting and maintain your interest while you're going through it, with the occasional laugh here and there. And the idea is that people warm to your personality. And I think this is really the way of the future. I think the one man show and or even the back and forth thing. But I think that this is something that people are. I think this is really in vogue right now. I think that we happen to hit the right place at the right time. So
God, I hope so. If it doesn't take off soon, I'm gonna go wait tables. I'm telling you right now. Listen, people, send the super chats and the rants, or I'm
for the
gonna go
love
get
of
cash tips.
God, send her a super chat. My God, it's like, please, she's busting her tail here. Do you want her to get the cankles and be standing there and saying you want fries with that?
That's
It's
exactly what's gonna happen.
it's
I'm gonna be out there waiting tables, and it'll be all your fault, all of you out there.
unbelievable. My God.
Oh man, it's funny you brought up Sex in the City because you learned that I was a fan, and
Mhm.
I was a
What
big
the hell
fan
was
of it.
she wearing in those things?
Oh god, isn't that awful? That's the reboot. So they did a reboot. It's called And Just Like That. And in the reboot, they made her dress like she was transitioning. I think she's becoming a tranny. I don't really know. I just think I've never seen Sarah Jessica Parker look so awful in all my life. And they did it to Carrie Bradshaw. And Carrie Bradshaw is like she was like the height of fashion, right? It's just like this super hot writer in New York City, and she always looks amazing. Well, sometimes looks ridiculous, but also still looks amazing. And they bring her back, and you think, well, this will be fun because we've all been locked down in COVID for years. And so, this is great. I want to watch this. I want to have a throwback to the fun 90s and how much fun everyone had back then and how great New York City was. Oh my God. Oh, Joe, it was so bad. It was so woke. So that's how my YouTube channel took off again. So I've had a YouTube channel for years. But it wasn't doing very well. I had maybe 4,000 subscribers. And I started doing reviews of this show. And the reviews of the And Just Like That took off like you cannot believe. Some of them have like, I don't know, 90,000 views on them. And I got like, I think I got up to like 8,000 subscribers. I doubled my subscribers just by doing these reviews of this silly show. And there was an entire hate community that grew up on YouTube around And Just Like That. And it was so fun. We were all like bouncing off one another. One woman, she's so funny. She did videos as Miranda's wig. One of the characters was wearing this awful wig that everyone hated. And so she made a whole channel doing like behind the scenes of the show as the wig. It was so funny. Her name was Wiggy. And I absolutely loved it. And then there's Jen from Real Housewives Recaps. She's amazing. Her channel took off at the same time. There was a beauty, was somebody who did makeup, who then did the God, what is her name now? This is gonna drive me crazy. She was Samantha Jones. She would put on the wig and do the makeup, and she would do reviews of the show as Samantha Jones. Funniest freaking thing I have ever seen. And this whole community like just grew up, and like everyone was like, and it even made the news. It was all over the place. That this was one of my friends who's a parody singer. Her channel took off. So then right at the end of that, Johnny Depp happened. And I started streaming that trial, and then I ended up on Nick. So like by the time that was done, I think Nick pushed me over 10,000, and then I've gotten about another 15 or another 5 since then. So like we're at around 16,000 on YouTube. But it's weird how these things go in these waves. Like you can literally watch it happen on your the stats on YouTube, where it's like the interest just goes way, way, way up, and then it crashes back down again. And then it goes way, way, way up, just depending on what the hell is happening. So I can't wait for season 2, man. I can't wait.
I gotta tell you, I cannot. I always feel like I know what stories are going to be good and what won't, and I have to tell you something. I'm terrible at like gauging. Like it's so hard from because let's face it, I'm gonna be very real with you. As content creators, we're looking to see things that will make my audience sufficiently engaged that it becomes imperative to them that they want to capture my attention and send super chats to engage with me. That's essentially because if you're not going to be engaging, you're not going to be getting the super chats. And at the end of the day, we're all trying to survive here. So you need to generate that engagement and try and figure out what we'll get. I can sometimes get like relatively small audiences. I mean, my channel is much larger than yours. So what I'm saying is, so for me, a relatively small audience is, let's say, somewhere between 300 and 500 watching at any given time. Okay. And I can sometimes have like, one of my smaller size audiences, and the super chats will be flying and they'll be engaging. And I can't get that number up over 500 people watching me. And other times I'll have like this crazy story I'm telling, and it's like 1,300 people watching, 1,500, 16. I see that number going up and up, and I look back over like the past hour and a half, and I got like $7.50 in super chats, and I'm like, how is this happening? Like that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I was like so much more engaging tonight than I was last night, and I got nothing. It's like my audience punished me for that. I don't even understand.
I don't know.
I'm not blaming them. I started like feeling like, no, the duty's on me. It's my job to figure out what makes
figure it out. Yeah.
What makes and also with respect to channel growth, it's the duty is on us as content creators to figure out what your audience is. Your audience is never wrong. It's your right or you're wrong, and that's why you're succeeding or you're failing. Your audience is never wrong. Now that doesn't mean I won't argue with my audience, because I love to argue with my chat. I love to argue with them.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, the audience is never wrong. It's that if you're not growing, and it takes a while, and it also takes luck. It definitely takes a lot of luck, but ultimately, if you're not growing, it's a reflection. You should always look at it as something you need to change, not that your audience needs to change. Because accepting the
what's unfortunate though, what really sucks is the most popular streaming that I have noticed, that's brought in the most money to my channel, are the trial streams that are 8 freaking hours a day.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
But the problem is I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I cannot
Babysitters.
stream for 8 hours a day. Like I can. I've done it. I did it for Johnny Depp, and my God, I thought by the end of that, Mr. Fox was gonna leave me. But he's like, "Do you realize that we have laundry that hasn't been done?" I was
In
like
like
taking
6
my
weeks.
phone on the. I know. I'm taking my phone like I'm mobile Megan and like doing my. I'm like, okay, I gotta go do laundry now. But I'll stay on the phone. Oh, do this. It was insane.
Yeah, yeah. No, the Depp trial. I mean, as a content creator, I and everyone, it wasn't any gradings on my side. Anyone who had been doing this for more than like 10 minutes knew that this was like a once in a lifetime type of thing.
Oh,
So
it's a
the money,
fantastic
the
trial.
money and growth that rained down, I was like, I'm not going to sleep through May. I'm not going to sleep through
Yeah.
May. But it's like I made more in May than I made like in any 3-month period.
Yeah,
Like my
it
best,
was
if you take my best 3
incredible.
months, I made more that month than I made. And I started streaming late. I started
Me
streaming.
too. Me too. I
I
didn't
started 2
start.
weeks into the trial.
I
I
did
started 2 weeks
too.
into the trial, and I
I
was
did
like,
too.
"There's so much audience here that no one's even going to notice or
You know,
care."
I had thousands of people on at once, which was the biggest I've ever had. I had on Facebook, and I don't know how to read those numbers really. I think it's just how many people have clicked on it, so it doesn't tell you what their retention is.
Right.
Some of those numbers were over 300,000. I'm like, how is this possible? Of course, Facebook for me doesn't pay because I'm not at 10,000 yet. If you guys want to follow me on Facebook and push me over that 10,000 mark, I'm almost there. I'm at Megan
Wait,
Fox Author on
how does it work
Facebook.
on Facebook? If you go over 10,000, they start paying you for views?
Apparently. Yeah, Nick told me that their payment structure is just as good as YouTube's, if not better. And you just have to have 10,000 followers on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that because when I have looked at Facebook's what I thought was their payment structure, and it's like really crappy. But maybe I'm obviously missing something. Nick would know. He knows. Uh, Teach the kids to do their own laundry. Floppy Phoebes, my children do their own laundry, but they're really bad at it. Like they're really bad at it, and sometimes I just like to do it myself and just do
What's
it the
their
right
age
way.
range? What's their age range?
My oldest is almost 17. She's going to get
Mhm.
her driver's license test tomorrow. She's
Oh,
going to
good luck.
take that test tomorrow. My middle one is 13, and
Mhm.
my youngest is 8. I've got 2 girls, older girls, and 1 little boy.
Mhm. They're
Ha
old enough.
Yeah, they're old enough. Do you have kids?
6.
Oh my God, that's a lot
Yeah,
of kids.
I have 3 and 3. 3
Great.
boy 3 I went girl, boy, girl, boy, boy, girl. And, yeah, they range from I'm a grandpa. They range from
Oh,
25 down to 8.
wow.
And,
It's quite a
excuse me,
stretch.
she turned 9? She's not I'm trying to think now. Did she turn 9? No, she's 8.
It's hard to remember after a while.
Yeah, she's so delicious. She's so sweet.
Aw.
But,
Aw.
and my oldest daughter has 2 sons who are
Wow.
one was born on January 6th of this year. So that's a birthday I'm not going to forget. And on the 1-year anniversary he was born, and of the real one. And the other one is like a year older than him. Was born in October. So I think October 31st. I think he was born on Halloween a year earlier. So
Perfect. Well, see, now
yeah.
that's one good thing about more insular communities, like we were talking about earlier, is that I bet that it's much easier for your kids to find good mates than it is for people who are not in communities like that. I worry all the time about my daughters finding men who are not destroyed and ruined by the pornification of everything.
Okay.
It's
All right. Now I have to share. And I have to share something with you, because you went down this road. No one's ever asked me about that before. You're the first
Oh.
person to ask me about
Oh,
like
this is exciting. Breaking news.
yeah that clip you showed earlier, where I used a term that no one knew what I meant, and she's like,
Mhm.
"What the hell does that mean?" I was talking about you only care about this because of shidduch. Shidduch is the term that we in the yeshivish Ortho Jewish community is the dating scene in our world.
Mhm.
So
the way the dating scene works is everything is set up by a blind date. Boys and girls when they're growing up have no interaction with the opposite gender unless they're like siblings, first cousins. And they go to separate schools, prayers are separate, you know, they have no interaction. My kids look at their brothers and sisters like they're best friends, but which I know that's unusual too. That's part of the home that Lady Lawgic has built here, where she made them like raise each other. Like the oldest kids are like looking at it like this is our baby. So like every time we had a new child, so like the youngest one is being replaced, it's like, no, this is our baby. We're going to raise the baby together. And they just became close that way. Mm-hmm. So when they start dating and dating is for purposes of marriage. That's it. There's no social dating. Dating is for purposes of marriage, and it's arranged dating where you have one party will say, this is a good guy. This guy and this girl seem like they're well aligned with each other and, you know, similar type personalities.
Is this parent led? So the parents pick?
So they'll come to the parents, usually like the mother or father, usually the mother more, and they'll say, hey, I have a good shidduch, which means a good potential match for your son or your daughter.
So is this like a matchmaker that does this?
There are some, but frequently it'll just be like a friend or someone in the community who sees you, who knows of some girl and sees
who
your
knows
son.
Okay.
And they'll be like, you know what? I was thinking that this could be a good shidduch. That's the way it's always referred to. So that's why I said the reason she cares. So what happens at that stage once it's read, which that's the term. It's a Yiddish word. The word read in this context is a Yiddish term, which means like told over. So once it's read, so then there's like a process that happens where the parents of the boy will look into the girl and her family and her parents and the siblings, and they'll make phone calls to neighbors and people that'll be listed. There's actually a resume. Everyone who's on the market is anyone who's of an age that they're looking to get married. That's called being on the market. And anyone who's on the market has a resume of who they are, what schools they went to, what siblings they have, what career ambition they have. Many of the boys don't have career ambitions. They're just going to sit and learn Torah, and it's expected that their wives are going to be supporting them, either the wives or their in-laws, depending on the wealth of the parents. So, and
sounds like the way Indian families do it. They have resumes too.
Do they?
Uh-huh.
So this is my confession to you. When I was referring to her about like you only care because of shidduch, what I was referring to is the fact that she has concerns that people who are looking to see if they want to set their son up with my daughter or their daughter with my son, because I have two kids who are on the market, that they will look into, they invariably will look at the parents and say, what do the parents do? And if they find out what
a lot
I
of pressure.
They find out what I do, they're going to start reviewing my streams. And if they see me talking in ways that no one in their shul ever talks, so in that case, they're going to say no to my son or my daughter purely because of me. This is a very
lot
big
of pressure.
It's a tremendous amount of pressure, because on the one hand, I'm trying to be entertaining. On the other hand, I sort of feel as if somebody that I don't know is watching this stream, trying to see if they want their daughter hanging out with the son of that guy. Potentially marrying the son of that guy or the daughter of that guy. And it's much harder for the girl.
To be honest, I feel the same way though. I mean, every time somebody finds out what I do, just in general, just because of how political it is, right? My politics, it would not be the first time that I lost friends or neighbors or whatever, just from them finding out what I do. Not that I ever bring it into I never bring what I do into my personal interactions with people. I never tell people what I do. I never give them like ever, because I'm always like, you never know. It's just polarizing, and people don't, people expect me to like go to parties and be political and stuff. And I'm like, that's not how I do it. Not at all. The last thing I want to do is work when I'm out at a party. But
that's a fair analogy, but this is why it's so much worse. It's because if I can take responsibility and accountability for whatever I say comes out of my mouth. If someone sees me say something and say, I don't like that guy because he's pro-choice or because he doesn't support trans enough or whatever, and then that's why I don't like him. I want anything to do with him. So I'm like, okay, to me, I'm like, all right, so goodbye. It was nice knowing you, and that's what it is. But here, it's that I'm having an impact on my children. And that's something which is like, it's like that feels like much more of a punch in the gut, where it's like, it's like, am I an albatross for them? And that's something that like I'm it's a line that I'm constantly walking to try and ever risking that. And even if I'm not, that they'll sort of, they might feel that I'm an albatross, and they have too much respect to ever actually say it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like they wouldn't say it. So instead, Lady Lawgic, she feels that. So she comes and she'll basically be kicking me, because I'll show some picture or something like that. And she'll be like, and she's looking at it as like, you're being an albatross for my children and they don't want to say anything to you. So I'm saying it to you. So this is sort of like this is sort of like the balance I'm trying to do between staying relevant and entertaining and being funny and watching my mouth and not sharing content that's people are going to look at and say, why is he having like that sort of conversation, so I don't become an albatross to my kids. And this is the struggle that I'm deal with on literally a daily basis, until eventually those two kids of mine end up getting engaged, and I figure the next one's not for like another 5 years. You can like handle. By then I'll have 1 million subs. I won't have to worry about this. So.
Well, the chat has a couple of questions about this. Somebody had asked, what if the child or young adult, I guess, doesn't like the chosen person?
Oh, yeah, for sure. What happens is they date until either the guy or the girl says, this is not someone I want to marry.
So it's their choice. It's just that they're being set up. Another one, somebody in the
But
Rumble
it is
chat.
fast. It's very fast. Like the engagements can happen. I've heard of engagements happening in 2 to 3 weeks. It's not
Is this how you met your wife?
Yeah, but the system was a little different 30 years ago than it was now. There was no resumes back then. It was just you got a phone call, and and the phone call would come to me, not my parents. My parents never knew who I was going out with. I went out with over 80 girls this way, and that is how I met Lady Law.
80.
Because you have to realize it's like almost like an interview, but it's like I'll have an interview where I'm sort of hanging out and joking with someone, and I'll do that and then I'll be like, all right, let's go again. That was fun. Let's do it again. And basically, I would go out with like I'd be going out at least once a week, maybe twice a week. And once I hit like 2 or 3 dates, I'd be like, okay, this one wasn't for me because of that reason. On to the next one. Or sometimes she would say no. I mean, that happened once or twice. So,
interesting.
Yeah. So that's basically, that's the way. That's the
so basically, it's just inter-community dating. It's just that it's not it's more guided. So somebody in the Rumble wanted to know: do people in that community ever do double dating? Is that a thing? Like, do you?
No. In fact, people are actually very shy about who they're dating. Like, it's like they're very discreet about who they go out on a date with. And the other thing I should mention is that under Jewish law, we're prohibited from touching anyone of the opposite gender unless they're an immediate relative. So there's absolutely, like, they literally
no hand holding.
They won't shake hands. They literally won't shake hands.
So the church where my sister's still a part of the United Pentecostal Church, and in their church they actually had even stricter rules for dating, which is real similar. They do no touching either. I think my sister and her husband had a couple of clandestine hugs before they got married that they laugh about now, about how, remember when we were hugging and when we weren't supposed to be, like that was the big deal, was the hugging when are there chaperones? Is this a chaperoned thing?
No, I mean, in Hasidic circles, they do a chaperone. Hasidic circles have a similar thing, but instead they'll have a sit-in, and they'll basically sit in like once or twice, and they'll be like, yes or no, marrying him or not, and that'll be it. So like that's real arranged marriage. It's like, if you don't, unless you're kicking and screaming no, you're gonna end up marrying this guy that we think is right for you. But in our circles, it's not like that. They actually will just go out until they both say yes or one of them says no.
Or one of them says no. Well, I think that seems reasonable. I think it's probably an easier way than it is like what are the kids doing now? Like the dating apps, the swiping
Oh my
left and
god.
right? Like
Oh my god.
so
And
kill me now.
it's such empty judgment that they're
It's
making.
awful.
And it's like, no, he drives a Prius, or it's like there's so like in a picture there behind them, like it's like he obviously likes to hang out with that sort of person. It's just like there's so much, and everyone is living a fake life
A
on
fake life.
Instagram, and
Yeah.
it's like this is what I'm presenting, an image of being like this perfect person, and it's and so I'll get my fake likes from people I don't know and people I don't care about, probably never meet any of them. And this way I'll feel good about myself that I was able to basically pretend for 30 seconds that my life is bliss and amazing and enviable. Really, and that's what it is ultimately. I want my life to appear enviable. And if I manage to attain that, then I can consider myself a success. But even if first of all, you're chasing something, it's constantly trying to prove yourself to get those likes. And second of all, when you get them, it's empty because that's not really you. That's
It's
just
not
some
real.
image you presented.
The other thing that worries me about it is
Awful.
that it feels like they're not communicating anymore. Like kids, they it's all on text message. Nobody's talking face to face. People don't meet each other out in public. I mean, and the pandemic made everything so much worse for that. The
Mhm.
chances of like meeting someone out somewhere, people look at you like you're crazy if you strike up a conversation with a stranger now. It's like
Yeah.
no one expects that to happen and no one wants it to happen anymore. So I just worry. I worry that our kids are just not, or my kids are just not going to have an opportunity to meet people the way you're supposed to, you
But
know?
you know what? Here's the thing. You're raising a great point. What I would suggest is that you really want to guide them towards, you can be old school if you want to be. Meaning, and this is partly a personality thing, right? These conversations that I'm having with you, I will have them with a 7-Eleven clerk. Meaning, it's a personality thing where I'll be engaging. It's much easier if you're more of an extrovert than if you're an introvert. But I'll strike up a conversation with a 7-Eleven clerk just to break up the monotony of my day. Or just sort of like, throw a comment at someone. And there are ways that we can meet people in our vicinity, even if it's not for the purposes of marriage or dating or social life. And it breaks up the monotony of your day, and it makes you feel more connected with society at large, and it's entertaining. So I'll start a conversation, or I'll throw it like not what I would call and think of as being an icebreaker, the way someone would when they go to a bar picking up a girl, like, and try to come up with some clever line. It's like, if the moment works and there's something that I see that's funny, instead of thinking in my head, I'll express it out loud to somebody who's standing in line next to me. and they'll sort of like be confused at first, and some of them will just sort of roll their eyes and look away, and others will just engage back. So you sort of, and that there's no reason people can't do that today. They just don't. And but you could tell your kids that's how you actually.
But that really is how you make connections and how you meet people. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not in this online weirdness. It just isn't. There's
Yeah.
no way to actually connect. Somebody in the chat just said pheromone here. Mountain Stream said pheromones are important. The internet wastes time for daters. That's so true. It's so true. You connect with people on levels you don't even know about when you're in person.
I once mentioned in front of my wife's family that they were talking about mosquitoes and how some people get bitten and some people don't. And if I'm sleeping in a room with anyone and there's a mosquito in there, it will find me and I'll be the only one bitten. And they said, "Why do you think that is?" So I said, "Oh, I know why, because my natural body odor is a pheromone for everyone." And they just sort of like looked at me like, "Did you really just say that? Do you really believe that?" Like, I was like, "No, it really, I have my body odor is a pheromone. I don't know why, it just is. I've been dealing with this since I'm a teenager." So, and they're like, they just sort of looked at me like I'm a sick in the head. Like they were like, "What's wrong with you? Why? Like, who would say such a thing?" But you can't be afraid. Just go out there and engage people. And only if you're engaging people in a friendly way with any sort of confidence at all, only good things are going to happen as long as you're not being, intimidating. It's like, why wouldn't I think people do that way too little, and it used to be something that was so commonplace, and it's a lost art today.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I know you've got to get going, and I'm sorry you have to go. I wanted to get into your law background, but that's okay. We can do it
What's
at a
that?
different time.
What's
I don't
that?
know. I don't know.
By the way, just how I told you, like I tend to wake up like at 11, 12 o'clock, which is why when you said, hey, let's do a stream at 10, I was like, are you kidding me? I don't sleep till 6. I'm going to tell you, I didn't go to sleep till 6 o'clock in the morning, but I actually had legal work I had to do today. And I got everything filed at 2:32. And I was like, all right. I was like, and I had no recollection that we had this today. And I was like, all right, let me go check out Twitter. And then I see on Twitter, I'm like, holy hell, I'm supposed to be on like 2 minutes ago. Like, it's so fortunate. It's like that was like God smiling on you, or both of us, I guess, because at the end of the day, I could have just been working straight through till 4 and then just come back and be like,
And been like, whoops.
oh, sorry, Megan.
That's all right. You know, if it had happened, it's okay, because I've done that so many times. I've got ADD, and I sometimes I don't even sign up for things anymore, like at my kid's school or whatever, because I know I'll forget, and then that's just even more embarrassing than anything else. And so I just don't sign up for things. So believe me, you would be instantly forgiven, because it's happened to me a million times. So I can
I
never
told
get
you
angry.
in private chat that I need to go do my prayers. All kidding aside, by the way, if you want, it takes like 10 minutes. If you want to run a song twice and pick up,
No, we
if you're
should make
tired, you
another.
need to go.
We should do it another time, because I'm going on 3.5 hours. I got to get out of here because my kids are home, so I'm going to end up going. But
Oh, you just want to shift the blame onto me. Oh, Joe's got to go. Oh, you're sitting there like, oh God, I'm dying. How can I get this conversation to end?
No, not
I
at
told
all.
you that in the private chat, and you're like, yes.
No, not at all. That's
I
not
can actually
true.
flex my cheeks. I can flex my cheeks. They're like numb.
Oh,
And
there's
like,
nothing worse than the sweaty butt on the chair when you're done with the super live stream. Like, it's like, oh, I've been here for 5 hours. Oh God. But yeah, it's been so fun, Joe. I love getting to know you, and I love having you on, and I hope that you'll
me
come
too.
back.
For sure. I have to get you back on, because it's like when you have a good
Definitely.
guest, it's like taking a night off.
Yeah.
It really is. It's literally like taking a night off. It's like, you know what? I don't have to prep for the show. I don't have to I come up with I look for 2 or 3 topics just to like make sure I can keep the conversation going. And usually I only get to one of them, and then the conversation just branch. So it's really like taking a night off, as opposed to having like 8 different stories lined up and have everything like all set up. Oh, I need to get this thing and then that thing. It's like, it's so much more relaxing. That's why I do that with Legal Mindset. Every Thursday we alternate channels, and the people love watching us engage with each other. It's a lot more fun, and it's way easier. So yeah, I'd like to have you on more regularly. You're a fun
Anytime.
chat.
And
All right.
P Dog Knight sent a Rumble rant for you. He said he wants to know. Cheers. He says, "Cheers, Joe. Did you say the yeshiva community like the university?"
Yeah. The Yeshiva University, YU. Yeshiva just mean the technical definition of yeshiva is, in English it translates into settlement, but it's become a term to refer to the school which boys would go to. Now girls go to a girls yeshiva, or they call it Beis Yaakov, but they've been doing that for the last 50 years or so. There's been, Beis Yaakov, but yeshiva basically is a reference to the boys' school. This type of Orthodox Jewry, which its ambition is to basically engage with the non-Jewish, non-practicing Orthodox Jewish world as limited as possible, other than, well, if a guy has to go to work, so he has to go to work to support his family, and everyone understands that you're going to do that. So, but outside of that scope, to basically, you're not hanging out bars, you're always surrounding yourself with people within your own community, as opposed to a modern Orthodox, where they'll keep the same laws and observe them in, pretty much the same way that a yeshivish Orthodox would, but they'll be engaging with the world at large on a far more broad basis. They'll go to movies, whereas in yeshivish world, we just wouldn't go to a movie. That if that helps, because it's like, why do you want to just be like idolized? Now I have Netflix, but to actually go into a movie and sit in a theater, which like in an
Yeah, that was the weird part about our religion too, is that we just didn't go to theaters, but a lot of people had televisions where they would watch VHS movies, like not TV. We weren't allowed to watch TV, but we could watch a movie on a VHS tape. It was very bizarre. There were a lot of bizarre rules.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. In our circle, for example, here's a classic distinction between modern Orthodox and yeshivish. Yeshivish, none of us have TVs. We don't have TVs. And in modern Orthodox, they all have TV. That's like a classic distinction right there. And you're not breaking any Jewish law by having a TV. It's just a matter of like, how deeply are you reinvesting into your own faith/culture versus opening up towards things that are geared for the public at large rather than specifically for Orthodox.
Right.
Jews. So
right.
Anyway, this was
all
great.
right.
I'm gonna hit you up to pop on my show next week sometime.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be around anytime. Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much. Thank
And
you,
next
Joe
time you want me
Nierman,
on,
everybody.
I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you in the super chats. I feel bad. Like should I send you
okay.
some money? Should I send
This-
you?
Joe's gonna give me some pity chats. Look, I'm not gonna turn you down. I will never turn it down, Joe.
Hold on a second. Let's keep this going for like another 5 minutes.
That's so funny. So funny. I'm just bad at it. My chat is broke. We're all broke. I don't know. The economy is bad.
There are periods, there are months that I noticed that some months are just much better than others for random reasons that no one can really figure out. And I think like people right now with the economy the way it is, I think that people are quite understandably much tighter, and no one should feel like pressure, like, oh, I have to give a super.
Yeah,
I don't want
no, I
anyone to ever
agree.
feel like that, especially because so many people are dealing with tough times. I'd much rather, I feel like at the end of the day, the money's going to come. Whatever money's going to come, that's really ultimately in God's hands anyway. I'm not worrying about the money.
That's true.
If it comes, it's great. And if it doesn't, that's totally fine too. I just want to be able to engage with people and have my content be enjoyed and hopefully give a positive message that people could take something from it, which will benefit them on some small way or potentially significant way. And that makes me feel as if what I'm doing is good. So.
The chat says sorry for being poor. It's okay.
I think Red Cloud's right. They're not tight. They're just broke, and everyone is.
Broke.
And I get it.
I mean, everybody's broke. I mean, honest to God, that's what it is. I mean, everybody's broke, and I can totally relate. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like I said, I may wait tables. Who knows? Whatever it takes. If I got to do it, I got to do it. That's the way it's gonna go.
All right, Megan.
You take care, and I will see you again soon. I'm sure.
Hey, look, chat. When you see Megan at Outback Steakhouse, just throw an extra 3% in there for her. Take care. Great seeing you.
Bye. Oh no! I kicked him out. He was still talking. Sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to. Oh man. Oh, you guys. Joe really can bring in the audience though. We've got like 200 people watching on Rumble and 100 on YouTube. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Crafting with Bits sent a Rumble rant that says, "Just kidding, you have great content. Thanks for the work." Well, I think I missed whatever the insult was. Wait, now I got to go back and find it. Got to go back and find the insult. Can we do reverse chats? That's funny. That's hilarious. Okay, so my teenager sent me a text. She wanted to know if she could go in a car with a boy somewhere and he's driving. No, the answer to that was no. Nope. Not ready for that. No. All right, let's see. What else do we have going on here? Okay, here's what we need to do. I want to make sure you guys know, if you want to support me and you can't afford to send a rant or a super chat, that's okay too, because you can go over to pjmedia.com and you can click on, why don't you go bookmark this right now? If you can go bookmark this link that I'm putting in the chat for you on the Rumble and on the YouTubes via the internets, you can go and put a bookmark there, and every day you can check it and just click on whatever it is that I write. And you will be helping me out, and it doesn't cost any money to click the link unless it's the VIP stuff, and then that's subscription only. But I do write free stuff as well. And yeah. Robin says I can write content for others and make money. Well, I do. I write for pjmedia.com, but I certainly do not have time to write for anybody else, unfortunately. I barely am making my quota over there because I am trying to build this channel, and I hope that the content that is coming out here is something that you like. Today's been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you guys. And I just want to make sure if you guys do want to sign up for VIP on pjmedia.com, you can use my promo code FOX for a discount. You can also sign up on Locals. Just follow me on locals.com, meganfox.locals.com. And that, by the way, is free in order to get the notifications and stuff. Like if you're having trouble on YouTube getting my notifications, just follow me on locals.com. Yeah, one of these days I will have my parents on because they are hilarious. I'm scared to have my dad. Oh, guess what? I just got a notice from pjmedia.com. There is a Black Friday sale going on VIP, and the promo code is Black Friday for a 50% discount. That's a big discount. That's the biggest one they've offered all year. So Black Friday for promo code discount on pjmedia.com for the VIP. You'll get a podcast from me every week, plus exclusive columns and live chats over there. So that's one way to support me. And another way is to go to Amazon.com, where I have books for sale. A couple of you have gotten some of those today for your hilarious chats. Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo, and Shut Up, The Bizarre War That One Public Library Waged Against the First Amendment. This is a great book. They're both good books. And if you're looking for Christmas presents, they might make good ones. And if you want me to sign them, I will work on getting those inserts that you guys can order, or you can just tell me you want one and I'll drop one in the mail for nothing. If you buy the book, I'll send you a signed insert. All right. I have, do I have any announcements? Okay. I don't think I'm going to be back this week unless, because my sister Stephanie is coming for Thanksgiving. I forgot to talk to my guest today about Thanksgiving. For crying out loud, it's Thanksgiving week and I didn't even remember. Stephanie's coming. She's going to be here at my house. I think she's going to be here tomorrow. So I don't think I'm going to be doing any streaming unless she wants to. But we're probably going to be busy cooking. So most likely. Oh yeah, Daisy, thanks for dropping the merch store link. You guys can always go to the merch store, buy t-shirts, mugs, cups, all kinds of stuff in there. Sweatshirts. And I hope you guys have a terrific Thanksgiving. And Stephanie and I are going to be here messing around and cooking for days. And I don't think I'm going to be back for the rest of the week. So I hope you guys have a really wonderful holiday. And I'll see you again next week. Next week, I've got a lot of stuff coming up. We'll try to have Joe back on one of these days soon. I really love getting to know him. And I did want to talk to him some more about his legal background because that always interests me. But we found out some really cool stuff today, didn't we? Until next time. And if you're wondering when I'm going to stream, always check the locals. Oh, you know what? You guys want a cooking stream? If you are a member on locals.com, that is something that I may do there. Stephanie and I may do a cooking stream on Locals. That would be fun. And my Locals is only $3 a month. I'm cheap. I'm very cheap. All right, everybody. meganfox.locals.com. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I will see you again soon. Stay tuned for the end of the show clip. I spent a lot of time working on this, and it is good. And you should watch it. I love you guys. Maybe a cooking stream. Let's think about that and see how that goes. Take care, everybody.
I was so lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. This time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So thanks. Thanks for
Thank you. Cheers.
So I take it that you've
Johnny's
seen
problem is he
Cameron
should have
Johnny's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yes.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall what
and
he
some
went
holy
into,
water.
Mr. Debson,
And a
as far
cross,
as
a crucifix.
bedroom?
May the
Do you
power of
recall, or
Christ
no, you
compel you.
No, I don't.
You realize this house was infested with
Except for
succubuses.
that,
And
there's a video here with you of what it, yes. Do you
Suck
recall
you
what was there
loaders.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
oh my god.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why
for
you wanted to
Melanie
drown her.
Iglesias,
Your
and that
next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Vasquez.